I speak to you today not as someone who wants to comfort your ego, but as a mirror. I speak to you as one who has watched thousands of lovers come and go, like waves crashing upon the shore, only to retreat back into the ocean. I have seen the same pain in the eyes of those who were left behind, the same trembling in the heart that asks, why? Why did they not stay? Why did they not choose me? Listen closely, my beloved, because the mind will try to deny what I am about to say. The truth is not that they left you. The truth is much more dangerous, much more profound. The truth is that you left yourself long before they walked away. You abandoned your own center to live on the periphery of someone else's existence. And when you return to yourself, when you rise in your own being like a flame that refuses to bend to the wind, something strange happens, something miraculous. Imagine a life where chasing is no longer necessary. Imagine a state of being where you rise so fully, so entirely into your own light that your joy, your confidence, your sheer presence becomes irresistible, not because you are playing a game, not because you are trying to make someone regret leaving you, that is too small, too petty for a spirit like yours, but because you are finally living in the truth of your own nature. Today I will show you a path to that life, a path that begins with one simple, devastating principle: stop chasing and start becoming. But before we walk into this fire together, I invite you to join this energy field we are creating here. If these words resonate with the silence in your heart, subscribe to this channel. It is not just a button, it is a commitment to your own awakening. And if you feel the pull to go deeper, to support the spreading of this consciousness, consider becoming a member by clicking the join button or offer a super thanks. This is not commerce. It is an exchange of energy, a way to say yes to the work we are doing together. Now look into your own life for a moment. Close your eyes if you must. Think of the times you waited. Think of the hours you spent hoping, begging, or manipulating, trying to pull someone back into your orbit. How did it feel? Be honest. It felt tense, did it not? Anxious, exhausted, even desperate. And still nothing changed. The more you ran, the faster they ran away. That is because love is never caught by fear or force. A heart that has left cannot be bound by effort. But here is what most people do not see. Here is the secret that is hidden in plain sight. When you stop living for someone else's approval, when you stop chasing, something extraordinary happens. The energy of your being begins to pull instead of push. People who left, people who doubted, people who never saw your worth suddenly begin to notice, not because you demand it, not because you struggle to regain it, but because you have finally returned to yourself. This is the principle of magnetic presence. And today I will show you how to awaken it, how to cultivate it, how to let it flow naturally so that your absence, your completeness, your joy becomes the most subtle and powerful invitation for others to see what they once ignored. We will walk into the spaces you have avoided, the parts of yourself you have surrendered to fear or to absence, the inner fire you have forgotten. I will show you how to use the pain of loss not as a wound to be nursed, but as fuel for transformation, a fuel that will build a self so strong, so luminous, that regret naturally arises in those who once left, but by then you may not even care. That is the beauty of it. Regret arises in them without any need for your effort. We will explore how to stop chasing, how to love yourself in ways that heal the emptiness, how to reclaim the energy that was scattered by longing, and how to rise into a presence that is irresistible because it is authentic. This is only the beginning. As we move deeper into this ocean, you will discover truths that are counterintuitive, truths that feel unfamiliar to your conditioning, yet truths that open the doors you have been waiting for, doors into a self that is unshakable, radiant, free. Stay with me now, because the transformation that awaits does not lie in others. It begins always with you. Most people never understand this simple truth. They think love grows by effort, by clinging, by repeated attempts to hold someone who has already left. They think if they just send one more text, if they just explain one more time how much they care, the other person will turn around. But the more they chase, the more the beloved disappears into the distance. Why? Because chasing is the language of fear, and fear shrinks your presence until even you cannot feel yourself. So how can another feel you when you are no longer there? When you chase, you are telling existence, I am empty, I am a beggar, I need this person to fill me. And emptiness that begs is repulsive. It feels like a burden to the other person. But when you stop, when you stand, when you breathe again into your own chest, as if reclaiming forgotten land, the begging melts, the fear melts, the noise melts, and what remains is something magnetic, something quiet yet impossible to ignore. Look at a rose in the early morning. It is covered in dew. It dances in the wind. Does the rose run after the bees? Does it shout, please come and take my fragrance, otherwise I am worthless? No, the rose simply blooms. It is content in its own glory. It is joyous in its own opening. And by blooming, it attracts. By being full, it calls. By standing still, it becomes irresistible. That is the energy of being. And when your heart remembers this state, the one who left begins to feel something strange. They may be miles away, they may be in the arms of another, but suddenly a thought of you enters their mind. Not a memory of you pleading, but a sense of your energy, a pull without effort, a memory without thought, a whisper inside saying, you have changed. Something in you has become calm. Something in you has become whole. The river does not chase those who drink from it. Yet they return again and again because the river gives by simply being itself, flowing alive, unbothered by who comes or who goes. This is the state you must achieve. And it is not difficult, it is only forgotten. You have been taught to fight for love. But I tell you, love is not a fight. Love is a resting. If you are finding value in this, if you feel a layer of your armor falling away, do not just listen passively. Engage with this truth. Share this video with a soul who is also hurting. Leave a comment below, not for the algorithm, but as a declaration to the universe. Write, I am returning to myself. Let that be your mantra today. And for those who wish to dive deeper into the mysteries of the self, check the description for our ebooks. They are maps for the journey inward. Now let us move into a space even more subtle, because once you understand the futility of chasing and you begin to stand in your own center again, something miraculous starts to unfold. Something most people never recognize until it has already changed everything around them. It is the power of silence, not the forced silence of holding back your words to play a game. I am not teaching you manipulation. If you use silence to manipulate, It is still noise because your intent is loud. I am talking about the natural silence that is born when your heart is no longer shaking with fear, when your mind is no longer racing with questions of what are they doing, who are they with, when your breath is no longer tangled in hope and anxiety. This silence is not emptiness, it is fullness. It is not withdrawal, it is presence. It is the kind of silence that makes the entire room aware of you without you having to say a single thing. Because the truth is, your loudest cries come from your energy, not your mouth. And the moment that energy quiets down, the whole world begins to hear you in a new way. You must understand something that goes beyond psychology and beyond ordinary logic, because the heart moves in ways the mind cannot explain. When you stop reacting to someone who has left you, when you stop reaching out, stop checking, stop asking, stop explaining, stop showing them your pain, they begin to experience something they never expected. They begin to feel the shape of your absence, the weight of your silence, the echo of your being. And this sensation is far more powerful than anything you could have said. When you were talking, they could dismiss your words. They could argue, they could defend. When you were pleading, they could close their ears. When you were chasing, they could run faster. But when you fall into silence, a real deep meditative silence, they have no defense against it. Because silence reaches places where sound cannot go. It seeps into their thoughts at unexpected moments. It visits them in the quiet hours of the night, when there is no distraction to protect them from themselves. Most people believe that communication keeps a connection alive, but often in the dysfunction of relationships, it is silence that reveals its true nature. When you stop sending messages, the other person suddenly has the space to wonder what you are doing, where you are, how you are feeling, and most importantly, why your presence has vanished from their world. The irony is that your silence speaks more loudly than any message you could have written, because it tells them something profound. You are no longer dependent on their validation for your existence. This realization hits the heart with great force. It creates a stirring inside them, a discomfort, a curiosity, sometimes even a longing. Because silence removes the noise that allowed them to ignore the truth of your value. Let me give you an image, something simple you can see with your inner eye. Imagine a door that someone walks through and slams behind them. As long as you keep pounding on that door, screaming, begging them to open it, they feel justified in keeping it shut. They feel powerful, they feel pursued. But if you suddenly stop, if you place your hand down, step back, and turn your attention inward, the one behind the door begins to wonder, why is there no more knocking? Why is the hallway quiet? Why do I suddenly feel alone where I once felt crowded? This is the nature of true silence. It is not an act of manipulation. It is the natural expression of returning home to yourself. And in that return, your absence begins to glow like a presence, warm and unsettling, calling them to look again at what they walked away from. But the beauty of this silence is not what it makes them feel. That is secondary. The beauty is what it makes you become. When you stop speaking from fear, your voice inside becomes clearer. When you stop reacting from insecurity, your inner strength becomes louder. When you stop chasing, your steps begin to find their natural rhythm again. You begin to walk like an emperor, not a beggar. And in that rhythm, in that quietness, in that relaxed breath, Something ancient and alive inside you begins to rise. You become more aware of your own company. You begin to hear your own thoughts without distortion. You begin to feel your own presence as if for the first time. Then silence becomes not something you use, but something you are. And from this new state, life begins turning toward you in ways that words could never have accomplished. You see, existence responds to your frequency, not your demands. If your frequency is I lack, existence gives you more lack. If your frequency is I am whole, existence rushes to celebrate that wholeness. Now that you have tasted the shift from noise to silence, from reaction to being, from chasing to standing in your own light, something else is waiting for you. Something that grows only after silence has made a space for it, a new sense of worth that begins to bloom like a flower that finally remembers the sun. But to reach this worth, we must traverse the darkness. We must go into the very place most people are afraid to enter. Yet it is the very place where transformation begins. The place where the pain of loss sits like a heavy stone on the chest, unmoving, undeniable, asking to be felt rather than escaped. Most people try to run from this pain. They distract themselves with work, with alcohol, with mindless entertainment, or they try to replace the one who left as quickly as possible, hoping that a new face will quiet the ache left behind by the old one. This is a mistake, a grave spiritual mistake, because pain does not disappear when ignored. It waits, it follows you like a shadow until the day you finally turn toward it with courage instead of fear. And when you do, something extraordinary happens. The same pain that once shattered you becomes the fire that rebuilds you. Let me tell you a secret that only those who have truly lived through heartbreak come to understand. The pain you feel now is proof that something inside you is waking up, not dying. You think the pain is about the person who left. You think it is about their smile, their touch, their voice. But the truth is much deeper. The pain is the sound of your own being calling you back home. For too long you had drifted away from yourself, giving parts of your soul to someone who could not carry them. Trying to please, trying to hold, trying to control the uncontrollable. And when they left, all those pieces came rushing back to you at once. That sudden returning creates friction. And that friction feels like fire. But fire is not your enemy. Fire is the great purifier. If you allow it, it will burn away the illusions you clung to. It will burn away the fantasies you built about a future that was never real. It will burn away the insecurities you fed and the fears that kept you small. This fire is not destroying you, it is preparing you. Think of a seed buried in the dark soil. From the outside, it looks dead, forgotten, abandoned, crushed by the earth. Nothing moves, nothing grows, nothing changes. But inside that darkness, under that immense pressure, something is happening. The shell is breaking open. The seed is dissolving into itself so that something greater can emerge. If the seed could speak, it might say it is suffering. It might say, I am being torn apart, I am dying. But we know the truth. Without that breaking, without that pressure, without that darkness, it can never become a tree. It can never know the wind or the sun. And the same is true for you. The pain that feels like the end is actually the beginning. It is the cracking of your old self, the dissolving of the identity that could not carry the weight of who you are becoming. When you stop resisting this pain, when you allow it to be felt without judgment, without the story of why me, without the story of it shouldn't be this way, a strange transformation begins. The pain softens, it starts to move, it becomes warm rather than sharp, it becomes fuel rather than poison. You begin to feel a strength rising from beneath the wound, a strength you did not know you had because it was buried under years of holding on to others for validation. This is the moment your true self begins to rise. Not the self that was shaped by fear or shaped by the need to be loved, but the self that knows its own worth simply by existing. And let me tell you something crucial: when you transform your pain into fire, the lover who left you can sense it, even from afar. They may not understand it, they may not know why your energy suddenly feels different in the ether, but they will feel the shift because the person they walked away from no longer exists. The fragile self that once clung to them is gone, and in its place stands someone new, someone grounded, someone alive, someone who knows how to burn without turning to ash. This alone creates a magnetic pull they cannot explain. For human beings are always drawn to those who rise from their own ruins. We are attracted to strength, not the false strength of muscles, but the strength of spirit. But understand this clearly, and this is where you must be very alert. The purpose of this transformation is not to make them regret leaving you. If you do it for that reason, it is still a game, it is still chasing, and nature cannot be fooled. That regret in them is only a byproduct. The true purpose is to reclaim the self you abandoned long before heartbreak entered your life. The self that was waiting beneath the noise of your desire. The self that knew its strength long before you forgot it. And now that this fire has been lit inside you, it is time to let it reshape your world, to let it illuminate the life you are meant to live, a life so expansive that the past can no longer contain you. Now that the fire inside you has begun its slow and powerful rise, something in your being starts to shift, not outwardly at first, but inwardly, quietly, like the way dawn arrives without noise, yet changes the entire sky from black to gold. And this shift carries you into the next stage of your becoming, a stage where you no longer rebuild yourself to win someone back, but to create a life so vast, so rooted, so alive, that the person who once walked away could not fit into it even if they tried. This is where the real transformation happens, not in the pain of loss, but in the expansion that follows. Because heartbreak is only the door. The real journey begins when you step through it and see how wide the world truly is. When you are no longer shrinking yourself to be loved. Most people never reach this point because they stay stuck in the memory of who they were when the breakup happened. They replay the story again and again, holding on to the version of themselves that existed in that moment of loss. But you are not meant to stay there. The self that was left behind is too small for the life that is calling you now. When the fire inside begins to clear the debris of your old identity, a new spaciousness opens within you, and into that space comes curiosity. The curiosity to explore parts of yourself you abandoned, dreams you ignored because they didn't fit into the relationship, passions you silenced because you were too busy trying to keep someone close. Suddenly you begin reading again, not to impress anyone, but because your mind hungers for new worlds. You begin taking care of your body, not to be desired, but to feel alive inside your own skin. You begin surrounding yourself with people who nourish your spirit instead of draining it. You begin doing things alone and discovering that solitude is not loneliness, it is freedom. And as this expansion unfolds, something remarkable happens. the past starts shrinking behind you, not because you push it away. Pushing is an effort. Pushing is chasing in reverse, but because you have simply outgrown it. A snake does not mourn the skin it sheds. The skin has served its purpose. In the same way, the version of yourself who was abandoned has served its purpose. It opened your eyes. It ignited your fire. It pushed you inward, and now it dissolves, so the larger self can emerge. And when someone from your past tries to step back into your life, and they often do when they feel this expansion, they will not find the same doorway they once walked through. That doorway has changed shape, it has grown, it has risen. It is no longer small enough for them to enter without transforming themselves. Picture this for a moment. Years pass, or maybe just months. Time is flexible in the world of the soul, and you cross paths with someone who once held your heart. They expect to recognize you. They expect to see the same softness that was weak, the same longing, the same vulnerability they once took for granted. But instead they find someone radiant, someone relaxed, someone complete, someone whose presence no longer bends toward them like a thirsty plant, but stands tall like a tree deeply rooted in the earth. They feel the distance, not because you push them away, but because your world has expanded beyond the space they once occupied. And in that moment, regret blooms inside them like a slow stone. They do not regret leaving you the person you were. They regret never seeing who you were capable of becoming. They regret walking away before your wings opened. They regret thinking you were small, only to find you now soaring at heights they never imagined for you. But understand this clearly, because without this understanding, the entire purpose is lost. You did not grow so they would regret leaving. You grew because life demanded it, because your soul refused to stay confined in the walls built by fear and attachment. The regret they feel is only the shadow cast by your rising sun. Your job is not to shrink again to make them comfortable. Your work is to continue expanding, to continue allowing your life to become a vast landscape they cannot claim, cannot control, cannot define. And the more you rise, the more natural it becomes to let the past fall where it belongs behind you. No longer a wound, just a memory that helped shape your wings. And this expansion prepares the ground for something even more profound. Because as you grow into the self you are meant to be, you begin to discover that the very love you once begged for from another has always been waiting to blossom from within you. What comes next is not about the lover who left, but about the lover who has been living inside you all along. As this new life begins to take shape around you, a deeper flowering starts to happen within you. A flowering so subtle at first that you may not even notice it, yet it changes everything in the most quiet and most profound ways. It is the beginning of loving yourself in a way you never allowed before. Not the kind of self-love people talk about in phrases and slogans on the internet. Not a bubble bath or a treat. I am talking about a presence that arises naturally when you stop abandoning yourself for the sake of others. For the first time, you begin to taste what it means to feel at home in your own being. And the moment you taste this, something extraordinary occurs. You become magnetic without trying, attractive without effort, luminous without seeking attention, because nothing in existence shines brighter than a person who has fallen in love with their own aliveness. You see, the reason heartbreak hurts so deeply is not because someone has left you. That is the trigger, not the cause. It hurts because you have been living disconnected from yourself for so long that their departure exposed the emptiness you had been avoiding. You used them as a drug to numb your own solitude. But when you finally begin returning to yourself, when your breath finds a softer rhythm, and your thoughts begin to lose their sharp edges, your energy transforms from scarcity into fullness. And fullness is irresistible. Fullness draws people in the same way a warm fire draws you on a cold night. Not because the fire calls your name, the fire does not know your name, but because its very presence offers comfort, light, warmth, a quiet sense of belonging. When you become full within yourself, people feel drawn to you without knowing why. Strangers smile at you, animals come closer. Children stare, and the lover who once left you begins to feel that same pull again, not because you want them back, desire repels, but because your new wholeness reminds them of something they have lost within themselves. You say you want love, yet you keep choosing the same pain again and again. Have you noticed this pattern? You are addicted not to love, but to the drama that hides your loneliness. The mind calls it romance, but it is only repetition, the same story, the same wound, new names, new faces. In this series of talks, I am showing you how pain in love is not a curse but a cleansing, how heartbreak is not the destruction of love but its beginning. We will go deeper into why you attract the same patterns, why love seems to hurt, and how to transform that pain into awakening. You will not learn how to protect yourself from love. That is what the ego wants. Build walls, stay safe. No, you will learn how to love so deeply that no one can hurt you again. Because when you become love itself, there is no one left to wound. I have seen many who come to me broken, trembling, carrying the ashes of love in their hands. They ask, why does love hurt so much? And I tell them, love has never hurt anyone. Love is healing. Love is the only medicine. What hurts is your illusion of what love should be. You wanted someone to complete you. You did not want to face your own emptiness. But emptiness is not your enemy. It is the space where love is born. Once you stop escaping yourself, the pain will turn into light. Before we continue to the alchemy of turning this pain into gold, I ask you to pause, feel the weight of these words. If you have been running, stop. If you have been begging, stand up. If you have been weeping, let the tears cleanse your eyes so you can see clearly. We are about to enter the second phase of this journey. The phase where we stop looking at the person who left and start looking at the mirror they left behind. This is where the real work begins. This is where the boy becomes a man, where the girl becomes a woman, where the seeker becomes the finder. You have been hurt in love, and in that hurt, you have learned more about yourself than in all the smiles and promises that came before. Pain is a strange teacher. It acts without manners. It does not knock politely on the door of your heart and ask, "May I come in to teach you wisdom?" No, it enters like a sudden storm. It tears down the windows. It rips off the roof. It shatters what is false and leaves you naked before your own truth. Most people try to run from that storm. They hide in distraction, in another person, in another fantasy of being saved. But you cannot run from what lives within you. The pain you feel is not punishment. It is revelation. It is life showing you what was never real to begin with. Here is something most people completely miss. Something so vital that if you understand only this, your entire life will transform. The heart does not break because of love. Love is too soft to break anything and too vast to be broken. The heart breaks because of everything that was not love. It breaks because of the expectation, the clinging, the belief that someone else should carry your soul. Only the illusion around love can shatter. And when that illusion breaks, you call it heartbreak. But what if heartbreak was actually the beginning of seeing clearly? Let me tell you a story. Once a disciple came to me weeping uncontrollably. His face was red, his body shaking. He fell at my feet and said, "Master, she left me. I loved her with all my heart, with every breath, and she simply walked away. What will I do now? My life is over." I looked at him and smiled gently. "She never left you," I said. "She only stepped aside so you could finally see yourself." At first he did not understand. He looked at me with anger. He thought I was mocking his pain. "You do not understand," he cried. "I am empty without her." But as the silence grew between us, something in him began to settle. He realized that all his love had been reaching outward, never inward. The woman was just the surface. She was just the screen upon which he projected his own needs. The real meeting had not yet begun. The meeting with himself. Pain is intelligence. It speaks the language of truth. When you feel pain, life is trying to tell you something urgent. It is showing you where you have gone blind, where you have mistaken dependency for devotion, where you have mistaken possession for passion. And yet what do we do when pain arises? We resist, we tighten our fists around the past. We keep reopening the wound, hoping that somehow it will heal by holding it closed. But pain does not dissolve through resistance. It dissolves through awareness. The moment you look at your suffering without trying to escape it, something shifts. It is like turning on a light in a dark room. You do not have to chase the shadows away with a broom. You simply turn on the light and the shadows disappear on their own. Think of your heart as a cup. When it cracks, you think it is ruined. You cry over the spilled wine, but the crack is where the light enters. The very thing you curse becomes the opening through which understanding pours in. Without the crack, no light. Without the heartbreak, no awakening. That is the paradox of love. It hurts you only to make you real. It breaks you only to make space for what is true. You see, love is not kind to the false. It does not care about your comfort. It cares about your awakening. When you say love hurt me, what you really mean is love destroyed the lies I built around myself. The ego calls it pain. The soul calls it freedom. So when you sit with your heartbreak tonight, do not try to fix it. Do not try to medicate it. Just breathe, let it ache, let it burn away what isn't real. Because this pain, this raw, unfiltered ache, is the proof that you have loved deeply enough to touch truth. And once truth has touched you, you can never go back to sleep again. And once you stop calling the wound your enemy, something miraculous begins. You start to heal, not from love, but through love. Here is something most people never realize until life forces them to see it. Every person you love is a mirror. They do not come into your life by coincidence, and they do not wound you by mistake. Existence is not chaotic. It is highly intelligent. They appear exactly when you are ready to see a part of yourself that you have been unwilling to face. The lover who abandons you shows you your deep ancient fear of being alone. The partner who betrays you reveals how deeply you still betray yourself, how you ignore your own intuition to keep the peace. The friend who disappoints you exposes the expectations you hide behind your kindness. Every encounter is a reflection. And until you understand this, you will keep breaking the same mirror again and again, blaming its cracks for your own blindness. When I look at human relationships, I see millions of people trying to polish the mirror. They change partners like they change clothes. This mirror is defective, they say. I need a new one. So they find a new lover, a new husband, a new wife. And for a few months, the reflection looks beautiful. But soon the dust settles again. You can replace the mirror 1,000 times. But until you wipe away the inner dust of fear, doubt, and longing from your own eyes, every reflection will distort. The mirror on the wall is not the problem. The dust within your mind is. You will see rejection where there is truth. You will see betrayal where there is freedom. You will see loss where there is only transformation. The other is never responsible for your suffering. They only magnify what was already there, quietly sleeping inside you, waiting to be seen. Once a seeker came to me, a woman of great beauty but great sorrow. "Beloved Master," she said, "why do I keep attracting the same man in different bodies? Every time it ends the same, first passion, then pain, first promises, then silence. Why does God punish me like this?" I smiled, for her question was the question of almost every human being who has ever loved. I told her, because the lesson remains the same. Life will keep sending you the same experience, dressed in new faces, until you finally see the truth it carries. She was silent for a long time, and then her tears softened. The pattern had not been a punishment. It was a call to awareness. When she understood that, she stopped searching for a different man and began searching for the one she had forgotten herself. When you blame the other, you avoid your own reflection. When you observe without judgment, growth begins. The moment you stop asking, "Why did they do this to me?" and begin asking, "What in me is reacting to this?" you step out of the prison of repetition. Relationships become conscious only when you use them not as escapes but as mirrors. They are the most sacred tools life has given you. Living, breathing mirrors that show you the exact state of your consciousness. The people you attract are not accidents, they are teachers. Some stay to guide you gently, others burn you like fire. But even the fire is grace. It burns only what you no longer need. You cannot evolve if you keep surrounding yourself with comfort. Growth always comes with friction. That is why love hurts, not because love is cruel, but because you are still fragile in the face of truth. The more aware you become, the more you will see this law in action. When you are filled with fear, you meet those who exploit it. When you are filled with guilt, you meet those who confirm it. When you are filled with peace, you meet those who expand it. The outer world dances to the rhythm of your inner world. And the moment you take responsibility for your own reflection, your entire reality begins to change. It is impossible to be deceived by another if you no longer deceive yourself. It is impossible to be abandoned if you no longer abandon your own being. It is impossible to lose love if you have already found its source within. If these words are cleaning the dust from your mirror, if you are beginning to see your own reflection more clearly, I invite you to deepen this commitment. Become a member of this channel by clicking join. Support the energy that supports you with a super thanks. This is how we keep the fire burning for everyone. And do not forget to share this with someone whose mirror is currently clouded by tears. Once you understand this mirror principle, even those who walk away leave a blessing behind, because they have fulfilled their role in your awakening. You will bow inwardly, not in resentment but in gratitude, whispering thank you, Thank you for showing me what I could not see alone. When you begin to see your lovers as mirrors, gratitude replaces blame. You stop demanding love me and start asking, what is love trying to teach me through you? The moment that shift happens, love transforms. It no longer becomes a marketplace of emotions where you trade affection for security. It becomes meditation. You start to notice the reflection not only in those who please you, but also in those who challenge you, not only in your lovers, but in strangers, not only in others, but in yourself. And in that recognition, something beautiful begins. Your relationships stop being chains and become paths to freedom. When gratitude dawns, judgment dies, and when judgment dies, love begins to breathe on its own, pure and unconditioned. The mirror no longer frightens you because you see it was never against you. It was always for you. Every face, every encounter, every heartbreak was a step leading you closer to your own soul. When you can finally look into the mirror of another and smile at your own reflection without fear or expectation, you have discovered the secret. Love was never about two bodies meeting, it was about two reflections merging into one clear awareness. And when this understanding blossoms, you will realize that love was never something you found outside. It was always the quality of seeing. Love is clarity. Love is consciousness looking into itself. What I am about to share now may sound strange at first, because for centuries you have been taught the opposite. You have been told that love means belonging to someone, that the proof of love is possession, that to hold someone close you must keep them, bind them, make them yours. But what if that very idea, the one you have been taught to worship, is the seed of all your suffering in love? What if love does not want to be owned at all? What if love is the sky and you are trying to lock it inside your pocket? When you try to possess love, it dies, because love can live only in freedom. It is like a bird that sings. Because the air is open, cage the bird, and you kill the song. Even if you keep the bird, possessiveness always comes from fear. Fear of losing the one you love, fear of being replaced, fear of standing alone in your own silence. That fear whispers, hold tighter, but love never whispers that way. Fear says mine, love says free. The moment you call a person mine, you have turned them into a possession, and a possession is not alive. It is an object in the mind's museum, labeled and claimed, and you start to protect the label instead of cherishing the life within it. You start to guard the relationship like property, forgetting that the very guarding builds walls, and behind walls, love suffocates. When you love, truly love, you never say, you belong to me, you say, we belong to existence. You do not claim, you celebrate. There was once a man who loved a nightingale for its song. Every evening it would sit on his window and fill the darkness with music so beautiful that even the stars seemed to pause to listen. The man felt a joy he had never known. But one night fear entered his heart. What if it flies away, he thought. What if it sings for another? What if tomorrow the window is empty? So the next morning, he caught the bird. He bought a beautiful golden cage, the most expensive one he could find, and locked the bird inside. He promised to keep it safe, to feed it the best seeds, to love it forever. But that night, the music was gone. The bird sat silently, its eyes dim, its wings folded. The man still had the bird. He could look at it. He could touch the bars of the cage, but he had lost the song. He had traded the living beauty for a dead certainty. This is what happens to your love when you cage it with control. You keep the form, but the life has fled. When you possess, you do not love the person. You love the certainty they give you. But certainty is dead. It never changes, never dances, never surprises. Love is alive only when it is uncertain. It thrives in the unknown. The very beauty of love lies in the fact that it can disappear at any moment. That is why it keeps you awake. That is why it makes you tender. That is why it makes you grateful. If a guest can leave at any moment, you treat them with the utmost care. If a guest is a prisoner, you stop noticing them. The mind wants guarantees. It wants a contract. It wants a promise. Say you will love me until death. But love offers no contracts. It says, be here now, not because you must, but because you choose to. When both people understand this, love becomes sacred. It becomes effortless. It becomes weightless. But you see, the ego cannot tolerate uncertainty. It calls it danger, but it is not danger. It is life itself. So the ego begins to create rules, promises, expectations, boundaries, all in the name of safety, all in the name of love. And then you wake up one morning wondering why the fire has gone out. Why what was once wild now feels heavy and tired. It is because love cannot breathe under ownership. If you are struggling with this letting go, if you find your hands are always clenching tight around those you love, I have prepared a guide for you. Our ebooks on detachment and self-love delve deep into this practice. You can find them in the description. They are not just books, they are keys to the cage. When you stop trying to hold love, it starts holding you. When you stop demanding loyalty, you discover presence. Presence is the purest fragrance of love. It means being with another person so totally that time disappears. It means meeting them each moment as if you have never known them before, because truly you haven't. They are new, you are new, the moment is new. Presence doesn't ask, will you stay? It simply asks, are you here now? Because if you are here, really here, there is no need for fear. The future disappears, and with it, the anxiety of loss. Only this breath, this touch, this silence remains. When two people are truly present with one another, love becomes meditation. You can sit in silence together, and the silence speaks more than words ever could. You can look into each other's eyes, and you will see not a person, but infinity reflected back. Presence doesn't try to change the other, it accepts them as they are. And that acceptance becomes transformation. Presence allows love to breathe naturally, like the ocean's tide flowing in, flowing out, without resistance, without control. The mind, of course, will fight this. It will scream, it will whisper. But what if they leave? And I say, let them, if that is where their journey leads. Because if love is true, it will never leave you. It will only change its form. When you trust love enough to let it go, you make space for it to return freely. And if it doesn't return, then it was never love. It was fear wearing the mask of desire. So let this be your meditation. Sit with your lover or sit with the memory of your lover as if you are sitting with existence itself, unpredictable, beautiful, and beyond control. Do not try to capture them in memory. Meet them anew in every heartbeat. If you can do this, you will never again fall in love. Falling means losing balance. Falling means gravity pulling you down. Falling means clinging to another to steady yourself. Instead, you will rise in love, rising into awareness, rising into freedom, rising into the simple joy of being with another without needing them to complete you. And when love becomes presence, not possession, you will know what I mean when I say two people can hold hands and still be free. Their palms touch, but their souls remain independent. They walk together, but they do not lean. Now we move into the most sacred alchemy of all, the turning of pain into understanding. The moment when the wound that once burned you becomes the very fire that lights your way. Pain is not here to destroy you, it is here to wake you from your sleep. Every heartbreak, every tear, every silent night where you stared into the dark wondering why, all of it was a secret invitation. Life was saying, come closer, stop running. There is something I want you to see, but you did not want to see. You wanted comfort, not clarity. You wanted healing without awareness. And that is why pain stayed, because it was still waiting for you to listen. Pain is a teacher that does not speak in words. It teaches through experience, through endings, through absence. It strips away the layers of illusion that you have built around yourself, illusions of control, of permanence, of ownership. When love leaves, it does not take anything real with it. It only takes away your dreams of what you thought life should be. And in that emptiness, in that vast space where the story collapses, something profound begins to emerge, understanding. But understanding is not born from avoidance. It is born when you sit quietly with your pain and let it burn without resistance. Most people cannot do this. They distract themselves. They run to another person, to a new story, to some movement that promises to fill the void. But whatever is not faced will return again and again until it has been met with full awareness. Meditation is nothing but this meeting, the courage to sit with yourself without flinching. When you meditate on your pain, you do not analyze it. You do not ask why. You do not interpret it. You simply witness it. You watch it like you watch a cloud passing in the sky, and something miraculous happens. The pain begins to change its flavor. The same fire that once burned now starts to illuminate. The same tears that once felt heavy start to cleanse. It is as if the poison turns into medicine the very moment you stop fighting it. Once a woman came to me. Her eyes were swollen from crying. Beloved, she said, how can I love again after being betrayed? How can I trust? I looked at her and said, do not love again, become love. When you become love itself, no one can betray you. She stared at me in disbelief, because the mind cannot understand such a thing. The mind only knows opposites, love and hate, trust and betrayal, closeness and distance. But the heart, when awakened, sees beyond opposites. When you are love, you no longer divide the world into those who gave and those who took. You realize there was never anyone to take anything from you. Everything that happens simply deepens your capacity to feel. Even betrayal becomes a gift, for it teaches you to find love within yourself instead of begging for it outside. The broken heart is not the end of your journey, it is the beginning of your awakening. Every crack in your heart is a door opening toward compassion. Compassion is not pity. It is the ability to see that everyone is carrying their own invisible wounds. When you have suffered deeply, you stop judging others so easily. You begin to recognize the pain behind their anger, the fear behind their silence, the longing behind their coldness. Suddenly you see that no one ever truly hurt you. They were simply acting from their own unconsciousness. They were sleepwalking, and in their sleep they bumped into you. This understanding frees you, because now you see that what they did was not personal. It was mechanical, like a dreamer moving in sleep. And once you see that, your pain dissolves. It does not need to stay anymore, because it has served its purpose. The lotus flower grows only in mud. Without the darkness, there can be no beauty. Without the swamp, there can be no fragrance. You too are like that lotus. Your heartbreaks, your losses, your failures, they are the mud in which your soul roots itself. If you deny the mud, you deny your own growth. When you understand this, you stop cursing your suffering. You start bowing to it. You say, "Thank you for coming. Thank you for breaking me open. Thank you for showing me what still needed to be seen." This gratitude is the sign that transformation has begun. And what does this transformation look like? You begin to smile again. But this time your smile carries the taste of wisdom. You love again, but this time your love does not cling. You cry again, but this time your tears are not of despair. They are of release. You start to notice beauty everywhere. In the smallest things, the rustle of leaves, the warmth of sunlight, the quiet hum of life moving through you. The world has not changed. You have. Pain has polished your eyes until they see clearly. When pain turns into understanding, understanding turns into compassion, and compassion turns into love. Not the love that wants something in return, but the love that simply radiates. It doesn't ask, it doesn't demand, it doesn't even choose. It just is. And that is the highest state of being. When you reach this space, heartbreak no longer frightens you. You will not run from it again. You will open your arms to it and say, "Come, my teacher," because now you know it refines your soul. Once you taste this alchemy, once you see how awareness transforms suffering into gold, you begin to trust life completely. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start whispering, "What is this trying to teach me?" That small change in perspective turns every wound into wisdom, every ending into a beginning. And then, even in pain, there is peace. Not the peace of absence, but the peace of understanding. When you can sit in the middle of your suffering and still see beauty, when you can feel your pain and still remain open, when you can look at the one who hurt you and feel gratitude instead of bitterness, that is when you have truly learned what love is. It is not something you find, it is something that remains when everything false has fallen away. And from that silence, from that clarity, love begins to bloom again. Not the love of need, but the love of being. There comes a moment in every seeker's journey when the search itself dissolves, when you stop looking for love and suddenly realize that you have been the source all along. Up until now, you were like a wave searching for the ocean, crying, "Where is the sea? Why can't I find it?" Unaware that every drop of your being was made of nothing but water. This is the final step, the moment when the seeker and the sought disappear and only love remains. When you have walked through the fire of pain, when you have seen the mirrors of relationship and the futility of possession, when you have allowed every illusion to burn away, what is left is not emptiness, but fullness. You realize that love was never something you did, nor something you received. It was the silent presence in which everything happened. It was there when you laughed. It was there when you cried. It was there even in your loneliness, waiting patiently for you to notice. People ask me, "Osho, where do I find love?" and I say, stop looking. You can't find what you already are. The search is the problem. The very idea that love exists somewhere outside creates the separation that causes your pain. The moment you stop searching, the distance collapses. Love was not missing. Only your awareness of it was. When the mind becomes silent, even for a single moment, love overflows like a spring that was hidden beneath stones of thought and fear. It doesn't have a direction. It flows in all directions. It doesn't need an object. It becomes a state of being. You begin to see love not as a feeling towards someone, but as the very substance of your existence. When you breathe, it is love breathing through you. When you look, it is love seeing itself through your eyes. The same life that moves through the trees, the rivers, and the stars is moving through you. And when you feel this directly, not as an idea, not as philosophy, but as experience, you understand that no one can give or take love away from you again. They can only awaken or mirror what was already there. The one who hurt you was a messenger, not a thief. They arrived to remind you of your own capacity to feel your own depth of being. Without them, perhaps you would have remained asleep a little longer. So even those who wounded you deserve your gratitude, for they brought you closer to yourself. There is an old story of a man who spent his life searching for God. He traveled across deserts, climbed mountains, prayed in temples set with saints. Yet peace never came. Finally, exhausted and old, he sat under a tree by a river and began to cry. I have searched everywhere, he said, and I cannot find you. And from the stillness around him came a whisper, but I have been here all along, inside the one who searches. In that moment he laughed through his tears. That laughter was enlightenment. That laughter was love recognizing itself. He realized that the distance between him and the divine, between him and love, was never real. It was a dream woven by his own mind, a game of hide and seek where he was both the hider and the seeker. When you become love itself, there is no more clinging, no more fear, no more need to define what you are or who you are with. You move through the world with the ease of wind passing through trees, touching everything, holding nothing. You can be with someone and yet not lose your freedom. You can walk alone and yet never feel lonely. You can give everything and yet feel untouched, because what you are giving is infinite. You become like the sun. The sun shines not because someone asks it to, not because it needs the flowers to look at it, but because shining is its nature. It cannot not shine. The sun does not decide who deserves its warmth. It does not say, I will shine on this beautiful rose, but I will not shine on that ugly weed. No, it simply gives. The flower does not bloom for applause. It simply blooms. And in the same way, when you realize your nature as love, your very presence becomes a blessing to everyone around you, even to those who do not understand you, even to those who reject you. This is what I mean when I say, in realizing love, you realize God. But do not think of God as a person sitting somewhere in the clouds, keeping a ledger of your sins and virtues. That is a childish idea. Think of God as the essence that breathes in everything, the invisible current that connects the heartbeat of the ant to the rotation of the galaxy. When your love expands without condition, you begin to feel that essence everywhere. In the cry of a child, in the sound of rain against the window, in the eyes of a stranger on the train, in the silence between words, you feel a deep connectedness with all that exists. You stop asking who loves me and start asking how can I live as love itself. That shift is liberation, that is awakening. And then a new kind of relationship becomes possible. Not the old tired drama between two beggars, each holding out an empty bowl and asking the other for emotional crumbs. Give me security, give me pleasure, give me meaning. And the other replies, I cannot, for I am also empty. No. The new relationship is between two overflowing hearts, two emperors who meet in abundance. In such a union, no one uses or depends on the other. Both simply share their joy. There is no demand, no fear, no bargain. It is a dance. Two whole beings moving in rhythm, but free to move apart when the music changes. Love that comes from being love can never hurt you, because it doesn't seek to possess, it only seeks to celebrate. And so as I look at you now across time and space, I want you to remember this: love was never lost. It was never taken, it was only hidden beneath the noise of your own longing. Now that you have seen through the illusions, you can return home to yourself, to that silent, boundless space where love is not something you do but something you are. Once you rest there, you realize that nothing can touch you, and yet everything can move through you. You are the ocean, calm, infinite, containing every wave, every storm, every reflection of the moon. The waves may rise and fall, the lovers may come and go, but the ocean remains untouched. Now that you see love was never lost, only hidden behind your ideas of it, let us come full circle, from heartbreak to wholeness, from seeking to seeing, from falling in love to being love. And when you are love itself, even the pain becomes poetry, even the silence becomes song. You think you are looking for love, but love has been looking for you far longer. You have simply been hiding behind fear, behind memories, behind the wounds you still carry like trophies. Listen closely, because this moment can become the moment you step out of hiding. And when you do, love finds you very fast. In this next part of our journey, I will take your hand and show you why love has felt so far away, even when you wanted it with all your heart. I will help you see the fears you never noticed, the patterns you never questioned, the simple truths about love that no one ever told you because they were too busy selling you fantasies. And when these truths open inside you, love becomes natural, like breathing, like light entering a dark room. When the window is finally thrown open, you will not learn how to chase love. You will learn how to let it happen. You have been told many things about love, that it must be earned, that it must be fought for, that you must become someone else, someone better, someone richer, someone thinner, someone smarter to deserve it. And this is why you suffer, because love does not come through pressure. Love does not come through the doorway of I am not enough. Love comes when you are relaxed, open, simple, true. In this discourse, we will wash away the old lies that have kept your heart locked. And slowly, gently, you will begin to feel your own heart again, alive, warm, ready. When the heart is ready, love appears. It is a law as certain as gravity. So before we go deeper, let me tell you what we will explore together in this space. I will take you into the roots of your fear, the hidden places where you learn to close your heart to protect it, not realizing you were suffocating it. I will show you the difference between longing and readiness, because many long for love, but very few are truly ready for it. Longing is a complaint. Readiness is a welcome. I will show you the quiet steps that open the heart, the mistakes people make again and again, and the simple shift that turns loneliness into a doorway. And somewhere in the middle of this journey, you will discover something you may not expect, that love is already near you, waiting for the moment you become still enough to feel it. And remember this, I will not give you ideas. Ideas are cheap, the world is full of them. I will give you understanding. Understanding becomes transformation. And when transformation happens, love follows like a shadow. Now that your heart is a little more open and your breath has become a little softer, we can walk into the first truth together. And this truth is simple, yet almost nobody ever sees it until life has already wounded them again and again. What I am about to say may feel strange at first, because your whole life you were trained to believe the opposite. But listen to me with the same tenderness you give to your own pain. Here is something most people completely miss. The reason you have struggled to find love is not because love is far away. It is because you have been walking in the wrong direction. And this is not your fault. From childhood, you were told that love must be found out there, in another person, in approval, in attention, in achievement. If I get good grades, Daddy will love me. If I am beautiful, they will choose me. So you chased shadows and echoes and promises. And each time your hands returned empty, you believed something was wrong with you, while in truth nothing was wrong with you except the direction of your search. You were like a man running west to see the sun rise. The faster he runs, the darker it gets. Not because the sun doesn't exist, but because he is running away from it. You were taught to look outside, and the outside world is full of demands, games, expectations, rules, fears, and performances. And when you chase love there, you naturally become tense. You become anxious, you become desperate. Will they like me? Am I saying the right thing? Did I wait too long to text back? And love cannot grow in such a climate. Just as a flower cannot bloom under a storm of noise and pressure, love grows only in freedom, in ease, in a heart that is relaxed enough to feel. And this is why the more you ran after it, the further it seemed to drift away from you. And the more you tried to hold it together, the faster it slipped through your fingers like dry sand. I want you to imagine this for a moment. Imagine a beautiful flower in a field. Does the sun chase the flower? Does the rain beg the earth to receive it? No. The sun simply shines, the rain simply falls, and the flower opens when it is ready. In the same way, when you stop running after love and begin to create space for it inside yourself, a space of silence, of softness, of openness, something begins to shift, something subtle, something that cannot be forced. The search turns inward, and suddenly what once felt far begins to feel near. I know how deeply you have been conditioned to seek love outside. I know how strongly the world, the movies, the songs, the novels has trained you to believe that love is a prize to be won or a person to be captured. He stole my heart, they say. She conquered him. These are words of war, not love. Let me tell you a small moment from my own life. I too searched outside when I was young. I reached for people, for admiration, for companionship. I thought that if many people knew me, I would feel full, and I found only shadows, only reflections that vanished the moment I touched them. The applause died down, the faces changed, the emptiness remained, It was only when I became still, when I closed my eyes, when I looked into the silent space of my own being, that I realized love had been waiting there all along, patient, like a friend standing just behind the door you never thought to open. And perhaps this is happening to you also. Perhaps you have been knocking on doors that never belonged to you, while the real doorway has been quietly glowing inside your own chest. So let this be the beginning, the very first turning of your inner compass. Instead of asking, "Where is love?" begin to ask, "Am I giving love space inside me?" Instead of saying, "Why is nobody choosing me?" begin to wonder, "Am I choosing myself?" And instead of chasing after someone's attention, try becoming still enough to feel your own presence. When you shift the direction of your search even slightly, a new kind of sensitivity arises, a new kind of awareness that is not hungry, not begging, not bargaining, but simply present, like the sky holding the sun. And once you stop looking outside in desperation, you begin to notice something deeper, a whisper from within, a quiet knowing that love is not something to be found. It is something to be uncovered. There is another truth we must walk into together, and this one may touch a very tender place inside you, because it reveals something most people spend their whole lives avoiding, something they feel but never name, something that quietly rules their relationships, their choices, their hopes, and their heartbreaks. What I am about to share might sound almost unbelievable at first, yet once you see it, once you feel the weight of it in your own chest, you will recognize it as something you have carried for years. The truth is this: you fear the very thing you long for. You say you want love, you pray for love, you dream of love, you write poetry about it, and yet in the deepest corners of your heart, you tremble at the thought of being seen, truly seen, without any mask, without any role, without any guard. Why? Because true love is death. It is the death of the ego. It is the death of the personality you have so carefully constructed. To love means to be vulnerable. To love means to drop the shield. And to the ego, dropping the shield feels like dying. So you play a game, you ask for love, but you wear armor. You invite someone in, but you lock the inner doors. You say, "Come close," but your body language says, "Stay back." And this trembling creates invisible walls, walls so old and so familiar that you don't even realize they are there. You have been hurt before, and pain teaches strange lessons. A child who is burned by fire will hesitate even before the warmth of a safe flame, because the memory of pain lingers longer than the touch of joy. And the same has happened in your heart. Somewhere in your past, love touched you with both beauty and pain. Maybe a parent who was inconsistent, maybe a first love who betrayed you, and the mind, trying to protect you, began to build an armor, layer upon layer of caution, suspicion, control, self-protection, until the armor became so thick that even the softest touch could not reach you anymore. Yet the heart inside that armor is still longing, still hungry, still waiting for someone to melt those walls with their presence, but you do not realize that no one can melt them if you keep them reinforced from within. And this is the tragedy of fear. It protects you from pain, but it also protects you from joy. It protects you from heartbreak, but it also protects you from closeness, from the very intimacy your whole being cries for in the middle of the night. I want you to feel how this fear shows up in your life. Be honest with yourself now. No one is watching. It appears when you push someone away the moment you feel too close because the intensity frightens you. It appears when you doubt a kind gesture, suspecting there must be something hidden behind it, some trap. It appears when someone starts caring for you and instead of relaxing you begin to tense, to wait for something to go wrong. You scan the horizon for the storm even when the sky is blue. It appears when you pretend to be stronger than you are. I don't need anyone, you say, I am independent. But this independence is often just a fancy word for fear. It appears when you smile while you are hurting, when you hold back the truth of your feelings because you fear rejection more than you desire connection. And slowly, slowly you begin to believe that maybe you are unlovable. But the real truth is that you have simply become unopen. If you feel this armor I am speaking of, if you feel the weight of these invisible walls, know that you are not alone, and know that there is a way to dissolve them. It is not by force but by understanding. If you wish to walk this path of dissolving the ego and finding true intimacy, I encourage you to join our community. Click the join button, support this message with a super thanks. Let us walk this path of vulnerability together. And if you need a guide, our ebooks on the art of surrender are waiting for you in the description. Let me tell you in my way what I have seen again and again in thousands of hearts. You have armored your heart. The armor protects, but it also prevents touch. The armor gives you safety, but it also takes away warmth. The armor promises security, but it steals intimacy. And as long as this armor remains, love struggles to enter. Because love is not a warrior. Love does not break down doors. Love does not climb walls. Love is gentle. Love is patient. Love acts like water, not like a hammer. Love waits for permission. Love waits for space. Love waits for you to say, I am open, even if you are trembling while saying it. And something beautiful happens the moment you see your fear clearly, without judgment, without shame, without trying to run from it. The moment you acknowledge, yes, I am afraid, I am terrified of being hurt again, a quiet readiness begins to rise. Fear that is seen becomes softer. Fear that is understood begins to melt. Fear that is allowed begins to transform. It loses its grip on your throat. And in this transformation, a new kind of strength appears. Not the hard strength of a rock, but the flexible strength of a bamboo. The strength to be vulnerable, the courage to be touched, the willingness to allow someone into the inner garden of your being, knowing they might trample the flowers, but risking it anyway. Because a garden that is never visited is a garden that has missed its purpose. So let us walk gently here, because this is the turning point. When fear becomes clear, something else begins to rise. A quiet readiness, a longing not born from desperation, but from truth. A longing that says, I am scared, but I am willing. And this willingness is the first opening, the first crack in the armor, the first ray of light entering a long closed room. And through that opening, love begins to approach you, because now you are not only longing for it, you are ready to let it in. We must go one step deeper into the illusion that has held you in longing for so many years. The illusion that love will arrive from the outside as a kind of miracle that will heal every wound, fill every emptiness, answer every question, and make your life whole again. This illusion is perhaps the oldest story humanity has carried, whispered into our ears by parents, by poets, by films, by songs, by culture itself. one day my prince will come, one day my soulmate will appear, and we have believed it so completely that we never pause to ask whether it has ever been true for anyone. Look around you, look at the couples you know, look at your parents. Did finding a partner solve all their problems? Did it remove their inner loneliness? Did it make them enlightened? Or did it simply create a new arena for their old conflicts? What I am about to share may loosen something inside you because it reveals the misunderstanding at the root of so much suffering. You have been waiting for someone to complete you. You have been standing with an empty cup, hoping that someone else will come with their overflowing heart and pour enough love into your emptiness to make you feel enough, wanted, held, chosen, safe. But listen to this math of the soul. Two empty cups cannot fill each other. If you are empty and you meet another who is empty and you both try to drink from each other, what happens? You only suck the vacuum. You only create more noise, more clash. Two beggars meeting on the street cannot feed one another, no matter how sincerely they try. They can only share their begging bowls. Let this sink into your heart slowly. No one can complete you because you are not incomplete. You only think you are. But when you believe you are incomplete, when you believe something is missing, you will choose lovers from your wounds, not from your wholeness. You will choose someone who fits the shape of your pain, not the shape of your growth. And such love can only create more longing, more pain, more dependency, more disappointment. When you expect someone to fill your inner emptiness, you do not enter a relationship as a full being. You enter as a half, and halves are always hungry. They cling, they chase, they demand, they monitor. They fear losing what they think is their only source of nourishment, and from that fear grows jealousy, control, insecurity, anxiety, all the poisons that slowly choke the sweetness of love. A person who feels empty inside becomes heavy in a relationship. They become a burden because they carry the hidden belief that love is something to acquire, to own, to possess, to hold on to tightly, and the tighter they hold, the more love suffocates. This false idea of completion has woven itself into your heart so deeply that you may not even notice how it guides your choices. You look for someone who will validate you, someone who will say you are okay, someone who will stay no matter what, someone who will promise never to leave, someone who will finally make you feel worthy, someone who will give you the love you never gave yourself. But can you see the impossible burden this places on another human being? They too are human. They too are trembling. They too are walking with their own wounds, their own insecurities, their own mysteries, their own childhood shadows. They cannot carry the weight of your unloved self. They cannot be your God. They cannot be your therapist. They cannot be your parent. And when they inevitably fail to fill the space inside you, because no human can fill a bottomless pit, you feel betrayed. You feel disappointed. You feel wounded again. They promised, you cry. And the cycle repeats. You leave them and you go looking for another perfect person to complete you. Imagine this with me. Imagine holding an empty cup and waiting for rain. Days pass, weeks pass. You stand outside under the open sky, waiting, hoping, praying for the clouds to open. But the sky is unpredictable and the rain does not come when you want it. And so your cup remains empty. And with every passing day, your thirst grows deeper. This is how most people wait for love, outside, in the realm of chance, in the realm of conditions, in the realm of someone else's choices. But what if the real source of water was not the sky but a well inside you? What if you were carrying the very fountain you keep searching for in the world? What if the water was not something to be caught from above, but something to be drawn from deep within? Then love would no longer be something you wait for. It would become something you bring, something you share, something that overflows from your fullness, not something you beg for from others. And suddenly the whole landscape of your relationships would change, because instead of asking who will complete me, you begin to ask who can I share my fullness with. And this is the shift I wish for you. This is the moment when your whole idea of love begins to transform. When you stop looking for completion and begin discovering your own wholeness, when you realize that the emptiness you feel inside is not a lack of love, but a lack of connection to yourself. When you understand that the love you crave from others is really your own love calling you back home, and when you begin to fill your own cup with silence, with understanding, with awareness, with acceptance, with compassion, you no longer enter relationships as a beggar. You enter as a giver. You enter as an emperor. You no longer cling in fear. You open in trust. You no longer ask someone to save you. You invite someone to walk beside you. Before we move to the final part of this discourse, where I will give you the practical keys to becoming this emperor of love, take a moment to reflect. Are you a beggar or an emperor in your relationships? Do you ask or do you share? If you are ready to claim your throne, to stop begging and start being, then subscribe to this channel. This is the gathering of the emperors. Join us, support this vision, and let us prepare for the final understanding, the understanding that changes everything. When you enter a relationship as a beggar, you inevitably leave as a victim. This is the law. If you go to someone with a begging bowl, asking for love, asking for meaning, asking for validation, sooner or later they will kick the bowl from your hands. Not because they are evil, but because the weight of your need becomes too heavy for them to carry. But when you enter as an emperor or an empress, everything changes. An emperor does not ask. An emperor shares. An emperor says, I have so much joy, so much silence, so much love overflowing in me that I must give it away. Will you receive it? And if they say no, the emperor is not hurt. The emperor simply smiles and moves to the next flower, to the next tree, to the next star, because his joy does not depend on their acceptance. His joy depends on his own overflowing nature. This is the shift I want you to make. It is the shift from I need you to I enjoy you. It is the shift from without you I am nothing to with you I am happy. Without you I am happy. And paradoxically, my friends, this is the only state in which true love can remain. Now let us go deeper into the mechanics of this transformation. Because you are practical people and you want to know, Osho, how do I do this? How do I stop chasing? How do I become this flower? The first step is to understand the nature of your own loneliness. You have been running from loneliness your whole life. You fill it with friends, with movies, with scrolling on your phone, with food, with lovers. But have you ever stopped to ask, what is wrong with being alone? Loneliness is a misunderstanding. Loneliness is a negative state. It means you are missing the other. It means you are focusing on the absence. It means I am not enough. Loneliness is dark. It is gloomy. It is a sickness of the soul. But there is another word, a word that looks similar but is diametrically opposite: aloneness. Aloneness is positive. Aloneness means I am enough. Aloneness means you are so full of yourself, not in an egoistic way but in a spiritual way, that you do not miss anyone. You are present, you are complete, you are whole. When you are lonely, you are a beggar. When you are alone, you are a king. The journey from loneliness to aloneness is the entire journey of meditation. And heartbreak, the very thing you are suffering from right now, is the fastest vehicle for this journey. Why? Because when your lover leaves, they force you into aloneness. They take away the crutch, they take away the distraction. At first you panic, you scream, you try to fill the void. But if you stop, if you just sit, if you say, okay, let me taste this aloneness, let me see what it is, you will be surprised. Beneath the layer of pain, beneath the panic, there is a tremendous silence waiting for you. A silence that is yours, a silence that no one gave you, and therefore no one can take away. I want you to try this. Tonight, when the urge comes to text them, when the urge comes to check their social media to see if they are happy without you, stop. Put the phone away, close your eyes, and turn inward. Feel the ache in your chest. Do not call it sadness, do not call it grief. Just call it energy. It is intense energy. It is fire. Watch it, sit with it, say to it, you are welcome here. And as you watch, you will see it changing. You will see the fire of pain turning into the light of presence. You will begin to feel a new kind of strength, a rootedness. This is the birth of the emperor, and here is the cosmic joke, the great irony of existence. The moment you truly accept your aloneness, the moment you stop needing the other often comes back. Why? Because you have become magnetic again. Recall the metaphor of the flower and the bees. When the flower is a bud closed tight in fear, no bee comes. It has no fragrance. It has no invitation. But when the flower opens to the sun, when it dances in the wind, when it is just happy being a flower, the fragrance spreads. It travels on the breeze, and the bees come from miles away. They cannot help it. It is a law of nature. When you were chasing your lover, you were a closed bud. You were tight. You were tense. You were demanding. Love me. Love me. And that demand was a stench, not a fragrance. It repelled them. But now, as you transform your pain into aloneness, as you begin to enjoy your own company, you are opening, you are relaxing, you are beginning to bloom. Your energy is becoming light, playful, mysterious, and the one who left you will feel it. I tell you, they will feel it. Even if they are on the other side of the world, they will sense a shift in the ether. They will dream of you. They will suddenly remember a moment of sweetness. They will wonder, why do I not feel that heavy pulling anymore? Where have they gone? Curiosity will arise, and curiosity is the beginning of return. But, and this is the most important but of your life, by the time they return, you may not want them in the same way. You will not need them. And that is the only way to have a healthy relationship. When two people meet out of need, it is not love, it is a business transaction. I scratch your back, you scratch mine. And sooner or later, someone stops scratching, and the war begins. But when two people meet out of aloneness, out of overflow, it is a celebration. I am happy, you are happy. Let us be happy together. Let us dance together. And if the music stops, we will bow to each other and go our separate ways with gratitude, not with bitterness. This is the freedom I want for you. This is the dignity I want for you. So stop looking at your phone. Stop looking at their photos. Look at yourself. Who are you? What is this consciousness that is hurting? What is this I that feels rejected? Investigate, go deep. If you are ready to go deeper into this investigation, if you are brave enough to face yourself, then you are part of this family. Support this channel so we can reach more broken hearts and turn them into kings and queens. Click join. Send a super thanks as a gesture of your own abundance. When you give, you affirm to the universe that you have enough. And the universe replies, yes, you have enough, and gives you more. Also, for those who need a structured path, I have outlined these meditations in our ebooks. You will find them in the description. They are simple, but they are potent. They are not for the weak, they are for the lions. Now, let us address a question that haunts many of you. Osho, if I stop chasing, if I become silent, will they forget me? This is the fear of the ego. The ego thinks out of sight, out of mind, but the heart knows a different physics. In the world of the heart, distance creates depth. In the world of the heart, silence creates an echo. When you are constantly present, constantly pushing, constantly available, you become common. You become cheap. There is no mystery. There is no space for the imagination to work. But when you withdraw, when you become silent, you become a mystery again. You become a question mark. What happened to them? Why are they so quiet? Have they found someone else? Have they found themselves? The mind of the other starts to spin. They start to fill the gaps with their own imagination. And usually, they imagine you are doing better than you are. They imagine you are happy, and this imagined happiness makes you attractive. It is human nature to want what we cannot catch. It is human nature to value what is rare. By chasing, you make yourself abundant and cheap. By stopping, you make yourself rare and valuable. But again, I warn you, do not use this as a trick. Do not say, okay, Osho, I will be silent for 3 weeks so they come back. That is still noise. That is still manipulation. And the other person will feel the sticky energy of your waiting. They will feel that you are just holding your breath. You must actually let go. You must actually drop the hope. You must actually come to the point where you say, if they return, good. If they do not return, good. I am enough. This I am enough is the key. And how do you reach it? You reach it by realizing that the person you are chasing is not the source of your happiness. They never were. Think back to the beginning of the relationship. You were happy. That is why you were attractive. Then they entered your life, and your happiness got hooked onto them. You started believing he is the source of my joy, or she is the source of my peace. This is the great illusion. They were just a trigger. The joy was always inside you. The love was always inside you. They just provided a situation where you allowed yourself to feel it. You projected your own inner gold onto them, and now that they are gone, you think they took the gold with them. They did not. They cannot take what belongs to your soul. They only took the trigger, but you can trigger it yourself. That is the secret of the mystics. You can trigger your own bliss. You can trigger your own love. You do not need an external agent. You can sit under a tree and feel as much love as you felt in their arms. You can watch the sunset and feel as much connection as you felt in their eyes. It requires practice. It requires deconditioning. It requires you to stop believing the story that you are half, you are not half, you are the whole universe pretending to be a person. And when you realize this, when you stand in your own light, you become a magnet, not just for your lover, but for life itself. Opportunities come, friends come, money comes, creativity comes, because life loves life, life loves energy, life loves those who are celebrating, life runs away from those who are complaining, life runs away from those who are weeping and begging. So wash your face, put on clean clothes, go for a walk, look at the sky, breathe. Force yourself to smile, even if it is fake at first. The muscles of the smile will trigger the chemistry of joy. Fake it until you make it. No, make it until you become it. Act as if you are a king, and soon you will find the kingdom was always yours. There is a beautiful story of a lion who was raised by sheep. He bleated like a sheep. He ate grass like a sheep. He was afraid of his own shadow. One day, an old lion came from the forest and saw this young lion running away in fear with the sheep. The old lion stopped him. He dragged him to a pond and said, "Look." The young lion looked at his reflection. He saw the mane. He saw the face. He saw the power. And then the old lion roared. "Roar," he commanded. The young lion tried. At first, it was a squeak, but then something deep inside him remembered, and he let out a mighty roar that shook the hills. The sheep ran away. The fear vanished. He was no longer a sheep. He had never been a sheep. He was a lion who had forgotten. You are that lion. You have been raised by a society of sheep, a society that tells you to be weak, to be dependent, to be a beggar for love. And your heartbreak is the old lion dragging you to the pond. Look at your reflection. You are not this crying, desperate little thing. You are consciousness. You are eternal. You are love itself. Roar. Roar with your silence. Roar with your dignity. Roar with your self-love. And when you roar, the sheep of your insecurities will run away, and the kings and queens of the earth will come to greet you. This is the promise I make to you, but you must do the work. You must stop looking at the closed door. There is a door that has slammed shut in your face, and you are staring at it, hypnotized. Why is it closed? When will it open? And because you are staring at the closed door, you do not see that 10 other doors have opened behind you. Doors to new adventures, doors to new depths, doors to freedom. Turn around, turn around. The past is a graveyard. Do not live there. The future is a fantasy. Do not live there. This moment, this painful, raw, beautiful moment is the only place where life exists. Use it. Use this pain to wake up. Most people fall asleep in comfort when everything is going well, when the relationship is smooth, you go to sleep. You become complacent, you take things for granted, but when disaster strikes, you wake up, your eyes open wide, the senses become sharp. Do not waste this wakefulness. Do not drug it with alcohol or new rebound relationships. Stay with the stinging sensation of being alive. It hurts, yes, but it is real. And anything that is real is better than a beautiful lie. As you stand in this reality, you will begin to feel a new kind of respect for yourself. I survived, you will say. They left and I am still breathing. The sun still rises, the heart still beats. You begin to realize your own resilience, and this resilience breeds confidence, not the loud, arrogant confidence of the ego, but the quiet, unshakable confidence of the soul. I can be alone. This is the greatest conqueror's statement. I can be alone. Once you know you can be alone, you are no longer afraid of anyone leaving. And when you are no longer afraid of anyone leaving, you can love them without clutching. You can love them without strangling them. Your love becomes pure air, not a heavy chain. And let me tell you, everyone wants to breathe pure air. Everyone wants to be around a person who gives them freedom. If you become this person who is happy alone, who is not afraid of loss, who loves without chains, you will have no shortage of lovers. They will line up at your door, but then you will choose. You will not beg, you will choose the one who can dance with you, the one who can meet you in the sky. This is the destiny that awaits you, but you must take the first step. And the first step is to stop. Stop the madness, stop the texting, stop the stalking, stop the thinking. Come back to the body, come back to the breath, come back to the I. The journey is not from here to there. The journey is from there to here, from the other to the self. As we approach the end of this sharing, I want to give you a specific technique, a method to alchemize this heavy lead of grief into the gold of awareness. But before I give you this key, I ask you to commit to it. Do not just listen and nod. The mind loves to nod. Yes, Osho, very wise, and then it goes back to crying. No, action is required. Rebellion is required. Rebel against your own mind. Your mind is your enemy right now. It is the one telling you you are lost. It is the one replaying the old memories. You must become the master of your mind, not its slave. If you are ready to be the master, type in the comments, I am the master. Let this be your declaration. Let this be your first roar. And if you value this guidance, if you feel it saving your sanity, then click join. Become a pillar of this temple. Your super thanks is not just money. It is energy that says, I value wisdom over misery. Now here is the technique. Every night before you sleep, sit on your bed, close your eyes, and visualize the person who left you standing in front of you. See them clearly, see their face, see the way they look, and then bow to them and say, thank you, you have set me free, you have given me back to myself. Say it aloud, thank you, you have set me free. At first it will feel fake. You will want to scream at them, you will want to beg them, but do it like an actor playing a role. Thank you, you have set me free. Do this for 7 nights and watch what happens. By the 3rd or 4th night, something will click. You will suddenly realize, my God, it is true. I am free. I don't have to report to anyone. I don't have to worry if they are angry. I don't have to walk on eggshells. I can eat what I want. I can sleep when I want. I can be who I am. The gratitude will shift from a fake act to a real feeling. You will start to feel a lightness in your chest. The chains will fall off. And the moment you truly feel gratitude towards the one who left, you are healed. The wound is closed because you cannot be angry at someone you are grateful to. You cannot be obsessed with someone you have thanked and released. This is the power of gratitude. It cuts the cord of attachment. And strangely, when the cord is cut, when you are no longer pulling, they often turn around and look at you. What happened, they wonder. Where is the pull? And they may come walking back to see this new, free, grateful person. But remember, you are not doing it for that. You are doing it for you. You are doing it to reclaim your sovereignty. You were born alone. You will die alone. Between these 2 points, you may walk with others, but you must never lose the ability to walk alone. To be able to walk alone is to be able to walk with God. So do not look at this breakup as a tragedy. Look at it as a graduation. You have graduated from the kindergarten of dependency. You are now entering the university of freedom. It is scary, yes. Freedom is always scary. The cage is safe. The cage has regular meals. The cage has boundaries. The sky has no boundaries. The sky is vast. The sky is dangerous. But would you rather be a safe bird in a cage or a free bird in the sky? The choice is yours. But I know what your soul wants. Your soul wants the sky. Your soul is suffocating in the cage of us. It wants to breathe the air of I am. Let it breathe. This is the time. This is the moment. Do not waste it. Turn your tears into prayer. Turn your loneliness into solitude. Turn your pain into power. You have the capacity, you have the fire. You just need the courage to trust it. Trust yourself. You are stronger than you think. You are vast. You are ancient. This little heartbreak is just a ripple on the surface of your ocean. The ocean does not care about ripples. The ocean is deep. Go deep. In the final part of our time together, I will speak to you about the ultimate flowering, about what happens when you have fully integrated this lesson, about the life that awaits you on the other side of this bridge. It is a life you cannot imagine right now because you are looking through the veil of tears. But I see it. I see the light shining on your face. And I tell you, it is beautiful. It is a life where you do not need permission to be happy. It is a life where your joy does not depend on the weather, on the stock market, or on the mood of another person. It is a life where you have become a light unto yourself. Apodipo bhava, be a light unto yourself. This was the last teaching of the Buddha, and it is the first teaching of your heartbreak. When you are a light unto yourself, you do not need someone else to hold a candle for you. You do not stumble in the dark when they leave. You simply shine. And in that light, others can walk, others can play, others can love. But you remain the source. Now I want to take you into the deeper psychology of why we cling to the past. Why is it so hard to let go? Why do we replay the same memories, the same arguments, the same kisses like a broken record? It is because the mind is a mechanism of the past. The mind is the past. It is nothing but a collection of memories, habits, and conditionings. The mind cannot know the present, and it is terrified of the future. So it clings to what it knows, even if what it knows is painful. To the mind, a known hell is better than an unknown heaven. You are clinging to your ex-lover not because they were perfect. You know they were not. You remember the fights, the misunderstandings, the coldness. You are clinging because they are familiar, they are a habit, and the mind hates to break habits. Breaking a habit feels like death to the mind, but it is life to the soul. Every time you stop yourself from texting them, every time you stop yourself from stalking them, you are breaking the mechanical pattern of the mind. You are creating a gap, and in that gap, consciousness can enter. I have seen people who are miserable in a relationship, complaining every day. He ignores me, she nags me. But the moment the relationship ends, they are miserable that it is over. I miss him, I miss her. This is madness. You were miserable with them and now you are miserable without them. What does this show? It shows that the misery is yours. It has nothing to do with them. They were just the excuse. Now you need a new excuse. Do not look for a new excuse. Look at the misery itself. Why is there this hole in your chest? Because you have not grown. You have remained a child emotionally. A child needs a mother. A child needs a father. A child cannot survive alone. But look at your body. You are grown. You are an adult. You can survive. You can work. You can create. You can meditate. Why are you still carrying the psychology of a helpless infant? It is time to grow up. And heartbreak is the growing pain. It is the stretching of your soul. There is a beautiful concept I want you to understand. The law of reverse effort. When you try to float in water, if you thresh around, if you panic, if you try too hard to stay afloat, what happens? You sink, you drown. But if you relax, if you trust the water, if you let go of the effort, the water lifts you up. You float effortlessly. The same is true in love. The same is true in attracting your lover back or attracting someone even better. When you thrash around sending desperate messages, pleading, bargaining, you sink. You drown in your own neediness and you pull them down with you, which is why they run away. But when you relax, when you trust the flow of life, when you say, I am willing to float, I am willing to wait, I am willing to be alone, then the water of existence lifts you up. You become buoyant, you become light, and people love to be around those who are floating. It looks like magic. How are they doing that, they wonder? How are they so calm in the middle of a storm? This calmness is your greatest weapon. It is your greatest seduction. But you cannot fake it. You can fake a smile, but you cannot fake vibration. If you are angry inside and smiling outside, people will feel the anger. They will feel the heat. So you must do the work of cleansing your inner world. How to cleanse it? By expression. Do not suppress your emotions. Suppression is the poison. If you are angry, be angry. But do not be angry at them. Do not call them and scream. That is vomiting on someone else. Be angry in your room. Beat a pillow. Scream into the void. Run until your lungs burn. Write a letter with all the terrible words you want to say, and then burn the letter. Get it out of your system. Transform the energy. When you express the negativity alone, you cleanse your heart. And then when you meet people, when you meet your ex, you are fresh. You are empty of poison. You are ready to receive. Most people use their partners as garbage cans. They dump their frustration, their anger, their insecurity onto the partner. And then they wonder why the partner leaves. Who wants to live in a garbage dump? Become a garden, not a garbage dump. Grow flowers of gratitude. Grow trees of silence. Grow fruits of laughter. If you become a garden, butterflies will come. You will not have to catch them with a net. They will come and sit on your shoulder. And if one butterfly leaves, you will not cry, because you know you are a garden. Thousands more will come. The garden does not depend on the butterfly. The butterfly depends on the garden. Be the garden. If you are ready to plant these seeds, if you are ready to do the gardening of your own soul, then show your commitment. Subscribe to this channel. Become a member by clicking join. Your support helps us spread these seeds to every corner of the earth. And for those who want the specific tools, the shovel, the water, the soil, check our ebooks in the description. They are the manual for your inner garden. Now let us talk about regret. The title of this talk promised you that they would regret leaving you, and I stand by that. But you must understand the nature of this regret. It is not the regret of, oh, I made a mistake in my calculation. It is the regret of witnessing a miracle that they are no longer part of. When they left you, they thought they knew you. They thought, I know his story. I know her limits. I have seen the end of this book. They closed the book and put it on the shelf. But when you transform, when you become this luminous, floating, joyous being, you rewrite the book. You become a sequel they never expected. They look at you and they see a stranger, a beautiful, intriguing stranger. And they think, wait, I thought I knew them. But who is this? They realize they walked away from a mystery. They realize they walked away from a potential that is now blooming without them. And this creates a deep existential ache in them. I could have been part of that light. I could have been dancing in that garden. This is the only healthy way to create regret. Not by revenge, not by getting rich and showing off your car. That is childish. But by becoming so alive, so vibrant, so peaceful, that your very existence becomes a critique of their choice. Your happiness proves them wrong. But by then, my beloved, you will have moved beyond the need for their regret. You will look at them with compassion. You will say, poor fellow, he missed the train. But it is okay, another train will come. You will not be gloating, you will not be arrogant. You will simply be happy, and that happiness will be your protection. You see, the ego wants to win. The ego wants to say, see, you were wrong. I am the best. But love does not care about winning. Love cares about being. If you are still trying to win the breakup, you are still in the game. You are still attached. You are still a prisoner. To truly win is to stop playing. To truly win is to walk off the field and go sit under a tree and play the flute. Let them run around with the ball, let them score points. You are playing music. You are in a different dimension, and eventually they will get tired of the game. They will hear your flute, and they will come to sit by your feet. Teach us, they will say, teach us how to be so peaceful. And then you become the master. Not the master of them, but the master of yourself. I want to share with you a deeper insight into the nature of attachment. Why do we attach? We attach because we are afraid of flowing. We want to freeze the river. We want to say, stay here, do not move. This moment is perfect. Let it last forever. But life is a river. It cannot freeze. If it freezes, it is dead. Relationships are alive. They change, they move. Sometimes they move together, sometimes they move apart. When you try to freeze a person, you must always love me like you did yesterday. You are killing them. You are turning them into a statue, and nobody wants to be a statue. Everyone wants to be alive. The moment you let go of the attachment, the moment you say, flow where you need to flow, you give them the greatest gift, the gift of life. And life always gravitates towards those who give it freedom. If you hold water tightly in your fist, it trickles out. You lose it. If you open your hand and cup it gently, you can hold the water. You can drink from it. Open your hand and let the bird fly. If it is yours, it will circle back. If it is not yours, let it go. Why would you want to keep a bird that wants to be elsewhere? To keep a bird that wants to leave is a prison for both of you. You become the jailer, and the jailer is just as much a prisoner as the inmate. He has to stand by the door. He has to watch. He cannot sleep. Set them free. and you set yourself free. Now you may ask, Osho, this sounds beautiful, but it is hard. My heart hurts physically. I feel like I am dying. I know. I am not denying your pain. I am honoring it. But I am telling you, this dying feeling is the death of the ego, not the death of you. Let the ego die. It is a parasite. It has been feeding on your misery for too long. Let it scream. Let it starve. When the ego dies, the true self is born. And the true self is incapable of heartbreak. The true self is like the sky. Can you break the sky? You can throw stones at it. You can scream at it. You can shoot arrows at it. The sky remains untouched. You are the sky. The clouds of emotion come and go. The thunderstorms of anger come and go. The rain of tears comes and goes. But you, the witness, the watcher, you are the blue sky behind it all. Shift your identification. Stop saying, I am sad. Say, I am watching sadness. Stop saying, I am broken. Say, I am watching a broken heart. This small shift in language creates a distance. It creates a space. You are no longer the victim. You are the observer, and the observer is always free. The observer is always calm. The observer is the God within you. Practice this witnessing. When you are crying, watch yourself crying. Look in the mirror, see the tears rolling down, see the red eyes, and ask, who is watching this? The one who is watching is not crying. The one who is watching is silent. Move closer to the watcher. Move away from the crier. This is meditation, and as you become more and more established in the watcher, you become invincible. No one can hurt you again. They can hurt your body, they can hurt your ego, but they cannot touch you. You have found the sanctuary. You have found the inner temple, and in that temple the flame of love burns eternally. It does not need fuel from the outside. It is self-luminous. When you reach this state, you become a king of love. You can give to everyone because your source is inexhaustible. You do not need to ration your love. I will give this much to him and this much to her. No, you pour it out. And the more you pour, the more fills up from the source. This is the economy of the divine. Give and you shall have more. Hoard and you shall lose everything. You have been hoarding your love, saving it for the one. And that is why it has gone stale. That is why it has turned sour. Pour it out. Love the trees. Love the animals. Love the stranger on the street. Love the food you eat. Love the air you breathe. Get the energy flowing again. When your energy is flowing, you are attractive. When your energy is stuck, you are repulsive. Stagnant water smells. Flowing water is fresh. Be a river, not a pond. This journey we are on together, from the stagnant pond of heartbreak to the flowing river of bliss, is the most important journey of your life. Do not turn back. If you are with me on this river, if you are ready to flow to the ocean, then make a sign, leave a comment, I am flowing, share this video with others who are stuck in their ponds, and support the channel. Your join and super thanks are the winds that help us sail. Check the ebooks for the maps of the river. Now I want to address the concept of time. You are worried that time is running out. I am getting old, you say. If I don't get them back soon, it will be too late. This is the anxiety of the mind. The mind lives in linear time. Tick-tock, tick-tock. But the heart lives in vertical time, in the eternal now. One moment of total love is worth 100 years of lukewarm marriage. One moment of absolute silence is worth a lifetime of noise. Do not worry about the duration, worry about the depth. If you can be deep, time disappears. And when you are deep, you are attractive to the eternal. You attract soul connections, not just personality connections. Personality connections are shallow. They are based on, I like blue, you like blue, let's get married. Soul connections are deep. They are based on a resonance of being. I am silence, you are silence, let us merge. You are looking for a soul connection, but you are using the tools of the personality. You are using manipulation, appearance, games. Drop the tools of the personality. Pick up the tools of the soul. What are the tools of the soul? Honesty, vulnerability, presence, courage. Be honest about your pain. Be vulnerable about your fear. Be present with your aloneness. Have the courage to stand naked before existence. This is how you call a soulmate. A soulmate cannot recognize a mask. If you are wearing a mask of I am fine, I am cool, your soulmate will walk right past you. They are looking for you, not your mask. Take off the mask. Let the tears wash away the paint. Let your true face be seen. It is a beautiful face. It is the face of a human being who is alive, who is feeling, who is growing. There is nothing more beautiful than authenticity. I have seen people who are physically perfect, models, actors, but they are ugly inside because they are fake, they are plastic. And I have seen people who are old, wrinkled, scarred, but they are luminous because they are real. They have lived, they have loved, they have lost, and they are still standing. Be real. That is your beauty. Your ex-lover fell in love with a version of you, maybe a fake version, maybe a version you created to please them. Now, let them fall in love with the real you, or let someone else fall in love with the real you. But do not go back to the fake version just to keep them. That is too high a price to pay. To sell your soul for a relationship is the worst bargain you can make. Keep your soul. Even if you lose the relationship, keep your soul. Because if you have your soul, you can create 1,000 relationships. But if you have the relationship and lose your soul, you have nothing. You are a hollow shell. And eventually the shell will crack. So stand firm. Stand in your truth. This breakup is not a punishment. It is a purification. It is burning away everything that was not you. Let it burn. And from the ashes, the phoenix will rise. You are that phoenix. Do not doubt it. I see the wings forming. I see the fire in your eyes. You are getting ready to fly. And when you fly, when you finally take off from the ground of dependency, you will look down at the earth, at your past, at your ex, and you will smile. You will see how small the drama was. You will see how vast the sky is. And you will thank the fire that forced you to fly. In the next part, we will speak about the final integration. How to bring this new flying self into the marketplace. How to live in the world but not be of it. How to love without losing your freedom ever again. We are nearing the summit of the mountain. The air is thin, but the view is magnificent. Keep climbing. You have risen from the ashes. You are learning to fly. But now comes the most difficult part of the journey. Flying in the open sky is easy. There are no obstacles there. The challenge is to land back on the earth, to walk in the marketplace, to see the one who broke your heart, and yet remain a phoenix. It is easy to be peaceful in a Himalayan cave. It is easy to feel detached when you are sitting alone in your room watching this video. But what happens when you see them with someone else? What happens when their name pops up on your phone? What happens when the old world tries to pull you back into the mud? This is where your transformation is tested. And do not be afraid of the test. The test is not to punish you. The test is to prove to you that you have changed. If you tremble, if you fall back into the old patterns of jealousy and rage, do not condemn yourself. Do not say, I have failed. Simply say, the roots are still deep. I need to dig deeper. Awareness is the shovel. I want to speak to you now about the law of shadow. Have you ever tried to catch your own shadow? You run after it, but it is always ahead of you. You run faster, it moves faster. You jump, it jumps. You cannot catch it, it is impossible. But if you turn around, if you turn your back on the shadow and face the sun, what happens? The shadow follows you. The shadow has no choice. It must follow. Love is a shadow. Happiness is a shadow. When you run after them, you are turning your back on the sun of your own self, and naturally the shadow runs away. But when you turn towards the sun, when you focus on your own growth, your own light, your own truth, love follows you. It dogs your footsteps. It begs for your attention. This is the spiritual physics of attraction. It never fails. But you must be sincere. You cannot just turn towards the sun in order to make the shadow follow. If you are constantly looking over your shoulder to see, is it coming? Is he coming back? Is she looking at me? Then you have not truly turned. You are still focused on the shadow. To turn towards the sun means to become so absorbed in your own life, so fascinated by the mystery of existence that you forget about the shadow. And it is in that precise moment of forgetting that the knock on the door comes. I miss you. Can we talk? I made a mistake. These messages always come when you have finally let go. Have you noticed? They never come when you are waiting by the phone. They come when you are out dancing, when you are laughing, when you have finally decided, I am free. Why? Because your energy has shifted. You have cut the invisible cord of need. And the moment the cord is cut, the other person feels a sudden loss of energy. They no longer feel your attention feeding them. They feel hungry, and they come back to the source. But listen to me carefully. When they come back, do not make them the center of your world again. That was your mistake the first time. If you make them the center, you lose your center. And if you lose your center, you become a beggar again. And the beggar is never attractive for long. Keep your center. Let them be a guest. A guest is welcome. You offer them tea. You offer them love. But you do not give them the keys to the house. You do not say, this house is yours, do what you want, burn it down if you like. No, the house belongs to God. The house belongs to your soul. You are the caretaker. Treat yourself with that much dignity. Now let us explore the concept of indifference. The opposite of love is not hate. Hate is very close to love. Hate is just love standing on its head. If you hate your ex, you are still obsessed with them. You are still giving them your energy. You are still burning with passion, just a negative passion. The opposite of love is indifference. But I am not talking about a cold, hard, stony indifference. I am talking about a warm, fluid, spacious indifference. It means you are free to be you and I am free to be me. Your actions do not determine my state of being. This is the ultimate freedom, when you can look at your ex-lover and feel neither a pull to possess them nor a push to reject them, when you can just see them as a human being, struggling, learning, making mistakes just like you, then you are free. And this freedom is incredibly sexy. People are tired of being needed. People are tired of being grasped. When they meet someone who does not grasp, who is just happy in their own skin, they feel a tremendous relief. They feel safe. Here is a person who will not suffocate me, they think. Here is a person who will not make me responsible for their happiness. And they want to be near you. They want to drink from your coolness. So how to cultivate this warm indifference? It comes from fullness. If you are hungry, you cannot be indifferent to food. If you are starving, a piece of bread looks like God. You will steal for it. You will fight for it. But if you have just eaten a magnificent feast, if you are full, you can look at the bread with indifference. You can appreciate it. Ah, good bread, but you do not need to grab it. You are starving for love, and that is why you cannot be indifferent. So you must feed yourself. Feed yourself with beauty. Feed yourself with silence. Feed yourself with creativity. Feed yourself with friendship. Fill your inner belly, so that when a lover comes, you are not a starving dog. You are a king, inviting another king to a banquet. Come, share my abundance. This is the shift. If you are ready to feast, if you are tired of starving, then declare it. Write in the comments, I am full. Let this be your mantra. And if you want to support the kitchen where this wisdom is cooked, click join, become a member, send a super thanks. It is a way of saying, I have enough to share. And for the recipes of this inner feast, look to the ebooks in the description. Now I want to warn you about the relapse. Healing is not a straight line. It is a spiral. You go up and sometimes you circle back and it feels like you are down again. You see a photo, you hear a song, and suddenly the tears come. The chest tightens, the logic fails. Do not panic. This is not a failure. This is just a remnant. It is like a fan. When you switch off the fan, the blades continue to spin for a while. The electricity is cut, but the momentum is there. Your relationship has been switched off, but the momentum of your emotional habit is still spinning. Let it spin. Do not try to stop the blades with your hand. You will only get hurt. Just watch. Ah, it is spinning. It is slowing down. Trust the process. It is slowing down. Even if it doesn't look like it today, every time you choose awareness over reaction, the fan slows down a little more. And one day it will stop. And in that stillness you will know peace. But you must be patient. You are so impatient. Osho, it has been 3 weeks. Why am I not enlightened yet? Why am I not over him? 3 weeks, you spent 3 years building the attachment and you want it gone in 3 weeks. Give yourself time. Be gentle with yourself. Treat yourself like a convalescent. You have been through a major surgery, a surgery of the heart. You need rest. You need nourishment. You do not need to be running a marathon. If you feel sad, stay in bed, read a book, drink tea, listen to the rain. Do not force yourself to go out and party just to prove you are happy. False happiness is worse than true sadness. True sadness has a depth. It cleanses you. False happiness is just noise. It exhausts you. Be true to your mood. If you are true to your sadness will turn into silence. If you are true to your anger will turn into power. Authenticity is the key. Now let us talk about competition. You are tortured by the idea that they are with someone else. He has replaced me. She is happy with him. Comparison is the cancer of the soul. You are comparing your insides, your pain, your loneliness with their outsides, their photos, their smiles. You do not know what is happening inside them. You do not know if they are happy. Often people jump into new relationships just to avoid the pain you are bravely facing. They are using the new person as a painkiller, and painkillers wear off. Do not envy them. In a way, they are delaying their growth. You are in the fire of growth. You are ahead of them spiritually, and do not compare yourself with the new person. Is she prettier? Is he richer? It does not matter. Love is not a beauty contest. Love is not a bank account. If they left you for a surface reason because someone was prettier, then be grateful. They have saved you from a shallow life. They have shown you that they do not have the depth to love you, the soul. They were looking for a decoration, not a partner. Let them go, let them have their decorations. You are looking for a connection. And know this, you are unique. There is no one like you in the whole existence. God does not create carbon copies. You have a flavor, a fragrance, a vibration that is utterly unique. No one can replace you. They can find someone else, but they cannot find another you. And the space you left in their life, that specific shape of you, will always remain empty. They will try to stuff it with other people, but it will never quite fit. Rest in your uniqueness. You do not need to compete. The rose does not compete with the lotus. The rose is a rose, the lotus is a lotus. Both are beautiful, both are needed. Drop the comparison. It is violence against yourself. Instead, focus on your own flowering. Make your petals so soft, your color so deep, your scent so rich, that the whole garden is blessed by your presence. And if your ex-lover cannot see your beauty, it is their blindness, not your lack. Would you be angry at a blind man for not admiring your painting? No. You would feel compassion for them. They had a diamond, and they thought it was a piece of glass. They threw it away. It is their loss. But you still have the diamond. You are the diamond. Start polishing it. How to polish? Through creativity. Pain is energy. Energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transformed. If you do not create, you will destroy. You will destroy yourself or others. So, create, paint, dance, write, sing, cook, garden, build. Do something with your hands. Do something with your voice. When you create, you channel the fire of heartbreak into something beautiful. You give birth. And when you see what you have created, a painting, a song, a poem, you will feel a surge of joy. I did this. Out of my pain, I created beauty. This is alchemy. This is how you turn lead into gold. And let me tell you, creative people are the most attractive people because they are tapped into the source of life. They are never boring. They are always surprising. Become a creator. Stop being a victim. A victim says, "Look what happened to me." A creator says, "Look what I made out of what happened to me." See the difference? The victim asks for pity. The creator inspires awe. Be the creator of your own life. If you are ready to pick up the brush and paint a new life, then join us. This channel is a gallery of creators. Subscribe, click join. Your support helps us buy the canvas and the paints for those who cannot afford them. And for inspiration, Open the e-books in the description. Now, a word on forgiveness. You think forgiveness is for them? I forgive you for hurting me. No, forgiveness is for you. Forgiveness means you are tired of carrying the backpack of heavy stones. You put it down, not because the stones are not heavy, but because you value your back more than the stones. As long as you do not forgive, you are carrying them. You are carrying your ex on your back everywhere you go, into your new relationship, into your bed, into your dreams. Put them down. Forgiveness is selfish in the best possible way. It is an act of self-love. It means I refuse to let the past poison my present. I refuse to give you rent-free space in my head. How to forgive? By understanding. Understand that they did the best they could with the consciousness they had. They were not evil, they were unconscious, they were driven by their own fears, their own conditioning, their own wounds. If you had their childhood, their parents, their mind, you would have done exactly the same thing. When you see this, judgment drops, and when judgment drops, forgiveness is natural. It is not something you do, it is something that happens. You simply realize they could not have done otherwise, and you walk away light, unburdened. This lightness is essential for the law of magnetism. A magnet must be clean to work. If a magnet is covered in mud, it loses its power. Resentment is mud, anger is mud. Wash it off with understanding, and then watch how the iron filings of the world start moving towards you again. You will walk into a room and heads will turn, not because you are trying to be noticed, but because you are vibrating at a frequency of freedom, and your ex, if you happen to meet them, will be confused. They will expect the heavy, angry, sad person they left. Instead, they meet a light, laughing, forgiving spirit. It throws them off balance. How can she be so happy? How can he be so light? It shakes their ego. The ego wants to believe I destroyed them. They are nothing without me. Your happiness destroys their ego, and that is the best revenge if you must have revenge. But I say drop the revenge. Just enjoy the happiness. Let us move now to the art of letting go. Everyone tells you to let go. Just let go. But how? You cannot just drop it like a hot potato. It is stuck to your skin. Letting go is not an action. It is a realization. You realize that holding on is hurting you. If you are holding a burning coal in your hand, do you have to try to let go? Do you have to read a book on how to let go of burning coals? Do you have to come to a therapist and ask, Osho, please teach me the technique of dropping the coal? No. The moment you realize it burns, the hand opens automatically. You are holding on because you still have the illusion that the coal is gold. You think this pain is my connection to him. If I let go of the pain, I lose him completely. So you hold the burning coal and you cry, it hurts. See the coal as coal. See the pain as pain. See that it is serving no purpose. The connection is already broken. Holding the pain does not repair the connection. It only burns your hand. When you see this clearly, not intellectually but existentially, the hand opens, the coal falls, and for the first time you look at your hand. It is burnt, it needs healing. You apply the ointment of self-love and you vow, never again will I hold fire, hoping it will turn into a rose. This is wisdom. Wisdom is nothing but the scar tissue of healed wounds. Wear your scars with pride, they are your medals. They show that you have lived, you have risked, and you have survived. Do not hide your heart because it has scars. A heart without scars is a heart that has never gone out into the storm. It is a virgin heart, naive and shallow. A scarred heart is deep. It can hold much more love. Kintsugi, you know this Japanese art? When a pot breaks, they mend it with gold. The cracks become the most beautiful part. The pot is more valuable after it broke than before. You are that pot. Your heartbreak is the crack. Now fill it with the gold of awareness. You will be more beautiful, more valuable, more unique than before. Who would want a perfect plastic pot from the factory? No, give me the pot that has been through the fire, that has broken and been mended with gold. That pot has a soul. You are developing a soul. So do not wish this didn't happen. It had to happen. It was destiny. It was grace. Without this breakup, you would have remained asleep. You would have remained a plastic pot. Celebrate the breaking. It is the breaking of the shell. Now, as we approach the final segment of this journey, I want you to prepare yourself for the union. Not just the union with a partner, but the union with the whole. Because ultimately, all love is a training ground for the love of God. All lovers are just training partners. They teach you how to open, how to share, how to drop the ego. If you learn the lesson, you graduate. You move to higher forms of love. You move from possessive love to sharing love, from dependent love to independent love, from conditional love to unconditional love. This is the ladder, and your heartbreak has just kicked you up to the next rung. Do not look down, look up. There are heights you have not even dreamed of yet. There is a love that does not depend on a face or a body. There is a love that is like the fragrance of the evening jasmine. It just is. You are moving towards that. So, walk with me. We have one more part to cover, the part where we seal this transformation, where we lock in the gains, where we make sure you never fall back to sleep. Are you ready? If you are ready to climb to the peak, to the point of no return, then signify your readiness. Share this video, like it, not for the vanity of numbers, but to tell the algorithm to spread wisdom instead of foolishness. And if you have the means, click join, be a patron of this digital ashram. Your super thanks keeps the lamp lit for others in the dark. Take a deep breath, feel the ground under your feet, feel the sky above your head. You are the bridge between the two. Let us cross the bridge. The bridge is not made of steel or stone. It is made of consciousness. And as you cross it, you leave behind the land of begging and enter the land of giving. In the land of begging, everyone is a vampire. You want their blood, their love, and they want your blood. It is a constant war of extraction. You didn't call me. You don't care about me. These are the battle cries of vampires. But in the land of giving, everyone is a sun. A sun does not need anything. It burns from its own nuclear fusion. It gives light because it is light. Imagine a relationship between two suns. It is not a dependency, it is a galaxy. It is a dance of immense gravity and immense light. There is no darkness there. You have been trying to have a relationship between two black holes. You suck them, they suck you, and eventually the whole thing collapses. Now I want to introduce you to the concept of the inner marriage. You are looking for the perfect man or the perfect woman outside. But the mystics have always known that the perfect partner is inside you. Every man has a woman inside him, his anima. Every woman has a man inside her, her anima. Your soul is neither male nor female. It is both. It is Ardhanarishwara, half Lord Shiva, half Goddess Parvati. The problem is your inner man and inner woman are divorced. They are fighting. Your logic, inner man is fighting with your emotion, inner woman. Your ambition is fighting with your rest. Because you are not married inside, you are looking for a husband or wife outside to fix the war, but you only project the war onto them. If your inner woman is crying, you will attract a man who makes you cry. If your inner man is a tyrant, you will attract a woman who rebels against you. The outer relationship is just a movie screen showing the inner relationship. So before you try to get your ex back or find a new lover, you must perform the inner wedding. How? By accepting both sides of yourself. If you are a man, accept your tears, accept your softness. Do not say, boys don't cry, that is stupid, that is cutting off half your soul. When you accept your softness, you become a whole man, and a whole man is irresistible to women because he understands them from the inside. If you are a woman, accept your strength, accept your logic. Do not play the victim, do not play the helpless little girl. When you stand in your power, you attract a king, not a tyrant. When the inner marriage happens, when you are whole, you stop looking for your better half. You are no longer a half. You are a circle. And when two circles meet, they do not merge into a blob. They touch. They roll together. They create a figure eight, the symbol of infinity. This is the goal. Not just to get a boyfriend or girlfriend, but to become an infinity. Now, let us talk about the trap of the good memory. Your mind is a trickster. It edits the past. It cuts out the boring parts, the painful parts, the arguments, and it creates a highlight reel. You play this highlight reel at 3 a.m. You see the sunset on the beach. You see the candlelight dinner. You feel the first kiss, and you think, oh, it was perfect. Why did I lose it? It was not perfect. If it was perfect, you would still be there. You are hallucinating. You are addicted to a movie that never existed in reality. The reality was, he was distracted, she was nagging, you were bored, they were jealous. The reality was messy. Stop watching the highlight reel. Watch the director's cut. Watch the unedited footage. Remember the pain. Remember the loneliness you felt while you were with them. Remember how many times you had to lower your standards just to keep the peace. Was that love or was that compromise? Love never asks you to compromise your dignity. Love never asks you to be less than you are. If you had to shrink to fit into their box, it was not a house of love, it was a coffin. You have broken out of the coffin. Do not try to climb back in just because you are cold. It is better to be cold and free than warm and dead. And do not worry about the cold. The cold is just the absence of their false warmth. Soon, you will generate your own heat. This generation of heat is what I call tapas, spiritual friction. When you are alone and you do not distract yourself, when you sit with the loneliness, a heat is generated. It burns the impurities. It cooks the soul. A raw soul is bland. A cooked soul is flavorful. Your heartbreak is the fire. You are the pot. Life is cooking you. Do not jump out of the fire. Let yourself be cooked until you are well done. And when you are well done, the aroma will spread, and the gods will come to eat at your table. Now, I want to give you a very specific warning about the test. Just when you are starting to feel good, Just when you have deleted their number, just when you smiled at a stranger, ping, a message will come. Hey, or thinking of you, or I left my sweater at your place. Do not be a fool. This is not love. This is a ping test. They are checking if the satellite is still in orbit. They are checking if the dog still comes when called. If you reply instantly, "Oh my God, yes, come over, I missed you," you have failed the test. You have proven that you are still a satellite. You have proven that you have no life of your own, and instantly their attraction will drop. They will say, "Okay, good to know he's still there," and they will disappear for another month. Do not reply instantly. Do not reply with emotion. Wait a day, wait 2 days. You are not playing a game. You are busy. You are busy building your empire. You are busy loving yourself. You are busy being a son. And when you reply, be polite, be brief, be neutral. Sweater is in the box. I can leave it outside. No emojis. No, I miss you. No, how are you? Just facts. This neutrality drives the ego crazy. The ego wants love or hate. It cannot handle neutrality. Neutrality means you are above the game. And when they see you are above the game, they want to climb up to where you are. They will try harder. They will call, they will knock. And then you have a choice, not a compulsion, a choice. Do I want this person back? Do they fit into my new life? Usually the answer is no. Because you have outgrown them. It is like trying to put on shoes from when you were 10 years old. They are too small. They pinch. You will look at them and say, "I loved you, but I love myself more." This is the ultimate victory. If you are ready to claim this victory, to choose yourself over a pinched shoe, then support this channel. We are building an army of self-lovers. Click join to march with us. Send a super thanks to fuel the movement. And equip yourself with the weapons of wisdom found in our ebooks. Now let us discuss the void. You feel an emptiness, a void, and you are terrified of it. You think, "I need to fill this void." So you date, you eat, you shop, you watch TV. Stop filling the void. The void is not empty, it is pregnant. The void is the womb of creation. Everything comes from nothing. The universe came from a void. You came from a void. If you can sit in the void without panicking, if you can relax into the nothingness, you will find God. God is not a person. God is a presence in the void. The moment you stop trying to fill it, the void fills you. It fills you with a peace that passeth understanding. This is what the Buddhists call shunyata, emptiness. But it is not negative emptiness, it is positive emptiness. It is space. You need space to grow. If your room is full of furniture, you cannot dance. If your mind is full of thoughts of your ex, you cannot dream. Clear the furniture, throw out the old memories, make space, and in that space the divine will dance. You are afraid of being forgotten. If I don't post on social media, they will forget me. Let them forget you. To be forgotten is a blessing. It means you are off the radar. It means you are in the wild. The lion does not care if the sheep talk about him. The lion is busy being a lion. Live your life so intensely that you forget to check if others are watching. There is a Zen story. A student asked the master, "How do I find the perfect love?" The master said, "Go to the field and bring me the biggest wheat stalk. But you can only walk forward, you cannot turn back." The student went. He saw a big stalk, but he thought, maybe there is a bigger one ahead. So he left it. He walked further. He saw another big one, maybe even bigger ahead. He reached the end of the field, empty-handed. He came back crying, "I missed them all because I was looking for something better." The master said, "This is not about the wheat. This is about your greed. You are greedy, you want the one, you want perfection. And in searching for perfection, you miss the life that is right in front of you. You miss the person who is kind to you because they are not exciting enough. You miss the peace because it is not passionate enough. Drop the greed. Perfection does not exist in the outer world. Perfection exists only in the inner eye. If you look with eyes of love, everything is perfect. If you look with eyes of greed, nothing is enough. Your ex was not perfect. You are not perfect. But the love between you could have been perfect if you had both dropped the demand for perfection. Now you have a second chance, not necessarily with them, but with life. Stop looking for the biggest stalk. Look at the stalk in your hand. Look at this breath. Look at this moment. This is the biggest moment because it is the only moment. Make love to this moment. If you are eating an orange, make love to the orange. Taste the juice. Smell the zest. Be fully there. If you can make love to an orange, you can make love to the whole universe. And then, a partner is just a cherry on top of the cake. The cake is already delicious. Most of you are eating a stale crust of bread and begging for a cherry. And when you get the cherry, you think, finally I am happy. No. Bake your own cake. Be so full of joy that when a lover comes, you say, "Would you like some of my cake?" You do not say, "Feed me." This change from feed me to share with me is the maturation of the soul. And let me tell you, the world is starving for people who are full. The world is full of beggars. When a king or queen appears, someone who is just happy, just giving, just shining, the whole world falls in love. You want one person to love you? I tell you, become a light and thousands will love you, but you won't care about the numbers, you will care about the light. Now a practical word on the rebound. You are hurting, so you download an app, you swipe, you go on a date, you sleep with someone new, and the next morning you feel worse, you feel hollow, you feel like a prostitute selling your body for a moment of comfort. Do not do this. It damages your soul. It tells your unconscious mind, "I cannot handle my own company. I need a body, any body to distract me." This is an insult to yourself. Wait. Here. Close the wound before you invite a new guest. If you invite a guest into a dirty, bloody house, they will run away, or they will be the kind of guest who likes dirt and blood. You attract what you are. If you are desperate, you attract predators. If you are healing, you attract healers. If you are whole, you attract wholeness. Be celibate for a while. It won't kill you. In fact, it will build your energy. Sexual energy is creative energy. If you do not dissipate it in shallow encounters, it rises. It becomes ojas, spiritual brilliance. Your eyes will start to shine. Your skin will glow. You will become magnetic. People will ask, "What are you doing? You look different." You are keeping your energy for yourself. You are recycling it. You are becoming a powerhouse. And when you eventually choose a partner from this state of high energy, the sex will be tantric, it will be divine, it will not just be friction, it will be fusion. Is it not worth waiting for? Is it not worth starving a little to enjoy the feast? Do not eat from the garbage can just because you are hungry. Wait for the banquet. If you are willing to wait to build your ojas to become a powerhouse, then signal your intent, click the join button. It is a vow of quality over quantity. Send a super thanks to honor the temple of your body and read the e-books to learn how to transmute this energy. Now I want to talk about the narrative. You are telling yourself a story. I was rejected. I was not good enough. I will be alone forever. This story is a spell you are casting on yourself. It is black magic, and you are the witch. Change the story. The new story is, I was redirected. I was saved. I am being prepared for something greater. Words have power. Words create reality. Stop using victim words. Use hero words. Do not say, I lost him. Say, I returned him to the universe. Do not say, I am broken. Say, I am open. Do not say, I am lonely. Say, I am available to myself. Change the language, and you change the neurochemistry of your brain. You are the author of your life. Up until now, you have been writing a tragedy, and then he left and she cried for 40 years. Boring. Start writing an adventure. And then he left and she discovered she had wings. She flew to new lands. She discovered her inner gold, and she lived fully. Write that story. And you know what? Everyone wants to be part of an adventure story. No one wants to be a character in a tragedy. If you become the hero of your own adventure, your ex will want a cameo. They will want to be written back in, hey, can I be in chapter 7? And you will look at your manuscript and say, I don't know. The plot is really good right now. Maybe a small role as a fan in the background. See? The power dynamic shifts. You are the author. They are just a character trying to get an audition. Take back the pen. The pen is your attention. Wherever you put your attention, the story grows. If you put your attention on the past, you write a history book. If you put your attention on the pain, you write a medical report. If you put your attention on the present, on the beauty, on the possibility, you write poetry. Be a poet. Turn this suffering into a song. Rumi said, the wound is the place where the light enters you. Do not hide the wound. Do not be ashamed of the wound. Let the light in. And soon the wound will not be a wound. It will be a window through which you see God. In the next and final part of this series, I will give you the ultimate secret, the secret that is beyond psychology, beyond attraction, beyond relationships, the secret of the witness. When you unlock this, the game is over and the real life begins. You are almost there. The summit is in sight. Do not sit down now. One last push, one last climb. Are you with me? Then let us ascend. As we ascend to the peak of this mountain, the air becomes thinner, but the vision becomes crystal clear. We are leaving behind the heavy atmosphere of the valley of attachment, of bargaining, of he said, she said. Here on the summit, there is only the vast, silent sky of the witness. This is the ultimate secret I promised you. It is the secret that turns a beggar into an emperor. It is the secret that transforms a desperate lover into a mysterious magnet. What is the witness? It is the part of you that is aware that you are aware. Right now you are listening to my voice, but who is the one listening? There is a thought in your mind. This is interesting or this is difficult. Who is watching that thought? There is a feeling in your chest, perhaps a lingering sadness, perhaps a new hope. Who is feeling that feeling? That who is the witness? It is not your mind. It is not your body. It is not your emotion. It is the pure light of consciousness that illuminates everything. When you are identified with your mind, you are a character in a movie. And if the movie is a tragedy, if the script says she leaves him, you cry, you suffer, you bleed, because you think you are the character. But when you step back into the witness, you realize you are not the character, you are the screen. The movie plays on the screen. There is fire, there is flood, there is heartbreak. But does the screen get wet? Does the screen get burnt? Does the screen get broken? No. The screen remains white, pristine, untouched. Your ex-lover broke the character. They hurt the ego. But they did not scratch the screen. They could not touch the witness. When you realize this not just as a philosophy, but as a felt experience, you become invincible. And let me tell you, invincibility is the most attractive quality in the universe. Why? Because everyone is fragile. Everyone is terrified of being broken. When they meet someone who knows they cannot be broken, they are awestruck. They want to be near that strength. They want to lean on that pillar. Your ex left you because you were fragile. You were a porcelain vase, always worried about cracking. Handle me with care. Don't drop me. It is exhausting to hold a porcelain vase. You have to be careful every second. Eventually the hands get tired and they let go. But the witness is not porcelain. It is a diamond. You can drop it, you can throw it, you can put it in fire. It remains a diamond. Become the diamond how? By practicing the double arrow. The Buddha said, in life we are shot with 2 arrows. The first arrow is the pain itself, the breakup, the loss. This is unavoidable. But the second arrow is our reaction to the pain, the suffering, the story, the why me, the self-pity. This is optional. Most of you are bleeding from the second arrow, not the first. The first arrow hit you weeks ago. The wound is already healing physically. But you keep stabbing yourself with the second arrow every morning. I am unlovable. I will die alone. How could they do this? Stop stabbing yourself. Pull out the second arrow. Accept the first arrow. Okay, there is pain. It is a sensation. It is heat. It is pressure. Watch it. Do not judge it. Do not say it is bad. Just say it is there. When you remove the second arrow, the story, the pain becomes pure. It becomes energy. It becomes fuel. And suddenly you are not suffering. You are just feeling. And a person who can feel deeply without suffering is a master. Now, I want to talk about mystery. You want to be attractive? You want them to regret leaving? You must become a mystery. When you are identified with your mind, you are predictable. You are a machine. Push button A, flattery, you smile. Push button B, insult, you get angry. Push button C, abandonment, you cry. You are a robot, and robots are boring. Once someone knows your buttons, they lose interest. They know exactly how you will react. But when you are the witness, you are unpredictable. Someone insults you, and you laugh. Someone leaves you, and you become more beautiful. Someone praises you, and you remain silent. What is going on, they wonder. Where are the buttons? They cannot find the buttons because you have disconnected the wiring. You are no longer a machine, you are a consciousness. This mystery drives people crazy in a good way. They want to solve you, they want to understand you. Who is this person? Why are they not falling apart? They will come closer. They will poke you. They will try to provoke you, just to see if the old buttons still work. I am seeing someone new, they might say. And you, the witness, will look at them with clear eyes and say, I am happy for you. I hope they bring you joy. And you will mean it, because you are the screen, and you know their new relationship is just another movie playing on the screen. When you say this with genuine peace, their jaw will drop. The game is over. You have won by not playing. They expected you to cry, to fight, to be jealous. That would have confirmed their importance. But your peace confirms your importance. Suddenly the new person seems less interesting. The drama is gone, and they look at you, this mountain of calm, and they think, I made a huge mistake. I left a king for a clown. But do not do it for this result. Do it for the peace. Now, let us address the fear of forever. The mind loves the word forever. I will be alone forever. I will never love again. Forever is a lie. Never is a lie. Life is a flux. Nothing stays the same. You say, I will never find someone like him. Thank God. Why would you want someone like him? He left you. He caused you pain. He was unconscious. You don't want someone like him. You want someone better. You want someone who stays. You want someone who sees you. Nature abhors a vacuum. When you create space by letting go of the good enough, you invite the great. But you are clutching the good enough so tightly that the great cannot enter. Your hands are full of pennies. How can God give you diamonds? Drop the pennies. But Osho, I am afraid. What if the diamonds don't come? This doubt is the only barrier. Trust. Trust is not a belief that everything will be fine. Trust is the knowledge that whatever happens, I can handle it. Whatever happens, I am the witness. If diamonds come good, I witness the diamonds. If empty hands come good, I witness the empty hands. When you have this attitude, you are free from the outcome, and a person free from the outcome is the most powerful negotiator in the room. In business, they say the person who is willing to walk away has the most power. In love, it is the same. You were not willing to walk away. That is why you had no power. That is why you were taken for granted. Now, be willing to walk away, not as a threat, but as a truth. I love you, but I do not need you. I choose you, but I can choose myself. This is the stance of the witness. If you are ready to adopt this stance, to drop the pennies and open your hands for the diamonds, then signal your readiness. Subscribe to this channel, become a join member, send a super thanks. These are small acts of dropping pennies to show the universe you are ready for more. And if you need guidance on how to hold the diamonds when they come, read the ebooks in the description. Now, I want to talk about solitude versus isolation. When you are hurt, you isolate. You shut the doors, you hide in the dark. This is the behavior of a wounded animal. But you are not an animal. You are a consciousness. Do not isolate. Enter solitude. Isolation is closing the door against the world. Solitude is opening the door to yourself. In isolation, you are full of the other, their absence. In solitude, you are full of yourself, your presence. Go to the mountains, go to the ocean, sit under the stars. Nature is the best healer, because nature is always in the state of witnessing. The tree does not judge you. The river does not argue with you. The wind does not ask for an explanation. They just are. When you spend time with nature, you tune into its frequency. Your mind slows down. Your heartbeat syncs with the earth. And in that silence, you will hear a voice, not a voice in your head, but a voice in your heart. It will say, "You are okay, you are loved, you are eternal." This is the voice of your soul. You could not hear it before because of the noise of the relationship. The arguments, the negotiations, the compromising, it was all too loud. Now the noise is gone. Thank the silence. Do not fill it with music. Do not fill it with podcasts. Do not fill it with my voice all the time. Listen to the silence. Silence is the language of God. Everything else is a poor translation. And when you come back from the mountains, carrying that silence in your eyes, you will be dangerous. Dangerous to the unconsciousness of others, dangerous to the ego, dangerous to the status quo. People will look at you and feel a chill, a holy chill. This person has seen something. This person knows something. That knowing is your charisma. Charisma comes from the Greek word meaning gift of grace. It is not something you practice in a mirror. It is a light that shines through you when you are transparent. Become transparent. Let the pain make you transparent. Let it scrub away the mud of your personality until the light shines through. You have been trying to be someone, be no one. When you are no one, you are everyone. When you are no one, you are the universe. Your ex-lover fell in love with a someone, a name, a job, a face. That someone is small. That someone can be rejected. But who can reject the universe? Expand. When you feel pain, expand around it. Do not contract. Usually when we hurt, we contract, we curl up, we get tight. Do the opposite. Open your chest, breathe deeply, spread your arms, say to the universe, "Give me more. If this is growing pains, give me more. I am big enough to hold it." This is the spirit of Zorba the Buddha. Zorba enjoys the world, the food, the dance, the love. Buddha witnesses the world, the silence, the peace, the detachment. Be both. Do not become a dry monk who rejects love, that is fear. And do not become a drunkard who is lost in attachment, that is unconsciousness. Be a witness who dances. Dance with your grief. Dance with your joy. Dance with your aloneness. When you dance, the dancer disappears, and only the dance remains. That is the state of witnessing. And if your ex comes back while you are dancing, grab their hand and pull them into the dance. But do not stop dancing if they let go. The dance must go on. The dance is your life. The partner is just a guest on the dance floor. Never stop the music for a guest who wants to leave. Now, let us discuss the return. Statistics say that many exes return. It is a high probability. But if they return to the same person they left, they will leave again. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. They left the old you. If the old you takes them back, the old dynamics will repeat. You must be the new you. And the new you must have new standards. Do not accept them back on the old terms. Okay, let's just go back to how it was. No, how it was led to a breakup. How it was broken. You must build a new house on new foundations. The new foundation is awareness, freedom, respect. When they come back, sit them down, look them in the eye, and say, "I love you, but I have found a new way of living. I have found my own center. I cannot go back to being a satellite. If you want to walk with me, you must walk as a sun, not as a planet. We must be two suns. Can you handle that? Most people cannot handle that. They want a slave, not a son. If they run away, let them run. You have avoided a disaster. But if they say, yes, I see your light, I want to be a son too, teach me, then you have a chance at a divine relationship. A relationship where two people help each other wake up. This is the only relationship worth having. Everything else is just mutual masturbation of the ego. Aim for the divine. Do not settle for the mundane. You have paid a high price in tears. Do not buy a cheap toy with that expensive currency. Buy a kingdom, the kingdom of the soul. Now I want to give you a meditation for the witness. It is called the stop. I used to do this with my disciples. Suddenly I would shout stop, and they had to freeze exactly where they were. If their hand was raised, it stayed raised. If their mouth was open, it stayed open. In that sudden freeze, the body stops, the mind stops, and the witness jumps out. You can do this yourself. Set an alarm on your phone to go off at random times during the day. When it rings, stop, freeze. Do not move a muscle. Do not finish the thought. Just be for 30 seconds. In those 30 seconds, you will feel a sudden distance from your drama. You will see yourself as a statue, and you will feel the life force flowing inside the statue. That life force is you. Practice this, it breaks the hypnotic spell of the mind. It reminds you again and again, I am not this story. I am the witness of this story. The more you practice, the more the gap grows. The gap between you and your pain. And in that gap, flowers bloom. Flowers of peace. Flowers of bliss. Flowers of love. And these flowers have a fragrance that travels against the wind. It travels to your exit. It travels to your future soulmate. It travels to God. Be the flower. Now, as we approach the final chapter of this saga, I want to prepare you for the ultimate letting go. This is not letting go of the person. This is letting go of the desire for the person. This is the state where you truly do not care if they come back or not. And paradoxically, this is the state where miracles happen. Because when you do not care, you are God-like. God does not care in the sense of worrying. God loves, but God is detached. When you become God-like, you become the center of your universe, and everything revolves around the center. In the next part, we will talk about how to live as this center in the daily world, how to date, how to marry, how to break up, how to live, how to die, all as the witness. We will talk about the final liberation. So dry your tears. They have watered the soil enough. Now is the time for the harvest. Gather your strength, gather your dignity, stand up, shake off the dust of the past. Look at the horizon. The sun is rising, and it is rising inside you. If you feel this sun rising, if you see the first rays of dawn, then greet it. Comment below, I am rising, let the world know. And support the sunrise by joining this channel. Your join and super thanks are the birds singing to the dawn. Let us meet in the final light. And when the sun rises inside you, the darkness of the other disappears. You see, the other only exists as long as you are dark inside. As long as you are unaware, you need the other to define you. You need the other to tell you, you are beautiful, you are worthy, you are loved. You are begging for a definition. But when the sun rises, you know, you do not need to be told. Does the sun ask the earth, am I bright? No, it simply shines. It is its own proof. This is the state of the Siddha, the one who has arrived. In this final gathering, I want to take you beyond the breakup, beyond the getting them back, beyond the relationship itself. I want to take you to the very center of your existence, where you are neither male nor female, neither lover nor beloved, but pure throbbing life. Because ultimately, why are we here? Are we here just to couple up like animals? Are we here just to build a nest and die? No, we are here to wake up. And your heartbreak was the alarm clock. Do not hit the snooze button. The snooze button is the rebound. The snooze button is the distraction. The snooze button is the hope that things will go back to how they were. Let hope die. This sounds cruel. I know. Osho, how can you say let hope die? I say it because hope is the enemy of the present. Hope is a postponement. Hope says tomorrow will be better. And because you are looking at tomorrow, you miss today. Today is painful. Good. Be with the pain. Today is lonely. Good. Be with the loneliness. If you stay with the reality of today, you will transform. If you run to the hope of tomorrow, you will remain the same stupid person you were yesterday. Hopelessness is freedom. When you accept, okay, they are gone, it is over, there is no tomorrow for us, then you drop the baggage, you stop waiting, and when you stop waiting, you start living. And a person who is living is a magnet. A person who is waiting is a stagnant pond. Now let us talk about the marketplace. We have been on the mountain peak of the witness, but you cannot live on the peak forever. You have to come down to the valley. You have to go to work. You have to buy groceries. You have to check your email. This is where the real test is. Can you carry the silence of the peak into the noise of the marketplace? Can you see your ex-lover's photo on Instagram and still remain the witness? This is what I call Zorba the Buddha. Zorba is the man of the earth. He eats, drinks, loves, dances. Buddha is the man of the sky. He watches, sits, silences, transcends. You have been a Zorba who got hurt. Now you are learning to be a Buddha. But the goal is not to kill Zorba. The goal is to bring Buddha into Zorba. Dance but with awareness. Love but with attachment. When you meet your ex, do not run away to a cave. Do not block them out of fear. Meet them, look at them, but look at them with your Buddha eyes. See them not as the one who broke my heart, but as a form of energy. See their limitations, see their unconsciousness, see their struggle. When you look with Buddha eyes, you will not feel anger. You will feel a strange kind of humor. You will think, look at this play, look at this drama we created, how serious we were, and now it is just smoke. You will laugh, and that laughter will break the last chain. I want to speak to you about the concept of the second innocence. You were innocent once before you were hurt. You trusted blindly. That was first innocence. It was fragile because it was ignorant. It had never been tested. Then you were hurt. You became cynical. You became hard. You built walls. This is the state of the knowledgeable mind. You think you are smart because you don't trust anyone. I will never be fooled again. But cynicism is not intelligence. Cynicism is just a scab over a wound. It is ugly. There is a state beyond cynicism. It is second innocence. This is when you know people can hurt you. You know relationships can end. You know promises can be broken. And yet, you choose to trust. You choose to open. You choose to love. Not because you are blind, but because you are brave. You say, I know the risks, but I also know the glory, and I will not live in a bunker just to avoid a scratch. This second innocence is profound. It has the wisdom of the old man and the freshness of the child. And let me tell you, if you can reach this state, if you can look at the world with fresh eyes despite your scars, you become a master of love. Your ex-lover cannot do this. They are likely stuck in cynicism or distraction. When they see your second innocence, they will be baffled. How can she still smile? How can he still trust? They will feel small in your presence because they know they are hiding. And you are open. Openness is power. Now I want to address the law of echo. The universe is an echo chamber. What you shout into it, it shouts back. If you shout, I am lonely, the universe shouts back, lonely, and gives you more lonely situations. If you shout, I need him, the universe shouts back, need him, and creates more neediness. But if you shout, even in a whisper, I am love, the universe pauses, it listens, and then it reflects love back to you. You have to trick the echo at first. You have to fake the shout. Wake up in the morning and say, I am love, I am complete. Even if you don't feel it, say it until the vibration changes your cells. You are rewriting the code of your reality. Most of you are running old software, the software of I am not good enough. This software was installed by your parents, by your teachers, by your ex. Uninstall it. You are the programmer. Write a new code. I am the prize. I am the destination. I am the source. When you believe this, your body language changes. You stop slouching. You stop apologizing for your existence. You take up space, and people respect those who take up space. Now, a very practical matter, the new relationship, because one day the door will open and a new guest will arrive, a new lover. How do you handle this? Do you repeat the old mistakes? The old mistake was merging. You wanted to become one with them in a sticky, dependent way. You wanted to lose yourself in them. Do not merge. Relate. To relate means to stand on your own 2 feet and hold hands. It does not mean leaning. The poet Khalil Gibran said, stand together yet not too near together, for the pillars of the temple stand apart, and the oak tree and the cypress grow not in each other's shadow. Be an oak tree. Let your partner be a cypress. Do not try to grow in their shadow. Do not try to make them grow in yours. Give each other sun. Give each other wind. If you start a new relationship with this space, it will be eternal. It will not suffocate. And do not compare the new guest with the old one. Oh, he doesn't have the same laugh as my ex. She doesn't cook like my ex. Comparison is disrespect. You are insulting the new guest. You are telling them you are just a replacement. Nobody wants to be a replacement. Everyone wants to be an original. See the new person as a new universe to explore. Do not look for the old landmarks. And if your ex comes back while you are with the new person, this is the ultimate test. The old you would drop the new person instantly to go back to the familiar toxic comfort of the ex. Do not do it. Honor the person who is treating you well now. Do not honor the person who treated you badly then. Loyalty to your past is stupidity. Loyalty to your present is wisdom. Now, let us talk about the gift of goodbye. You never truly said goodbye. You said, please stay, or you said, I hate you. Neither of those is goodbye. Goodbye means God be with ye. It is a blessing. You must say goodbye to the relationship. You must have a funeral for it. I mean this literally. Write down the name of the relationship on a piece of paper, put some dried flowers with it, put a photo, and burn it or bury it. Do a ritual. The mind needs rituals to understand that something is over. As you watch it burn, say, "It is finished. I release you. I release me." Cry if you need to, but let it be the last cry for the past. When the fire is out, wash your hands, eat a sweet, and step into the new world. You will feel a physical weight lift off your shoulders. The ghost will leave the house. You have been living in a haunted house. You have been feeding the ghost with your memories. Stop feeding the ghost. Feed the living. Feed yourself. Now, I want to speak to the seeker in you, because this heartbreak has made you a seeker. You are watching this video not just for relationship advice. You are watching because your soul is thirsty for truth. You have realized that the world of forms, money, sex, relationships is unstable. You are looking for something stable. That stable thing is the inner temple. I am inviting you to build this temple. The bricks are awareness, the mortar is love, the roof is silence. Enter this temple every day. When you have an inner temple, you are never homeless. Even if your partner kicks you out, even if the world collapses, you have a home. This is the only security in existence. People look for security in bank accounts and marriage certificates. These are paper shields. They burn. The inner temple does not burn. If you build this temple, you become a sanctuary for others. Your ex-lover is homeless. That is why they are running from person to person. That is why they are confused. When they see that you have built a temple, that you are sitting inside, calm, lit by 1,000 candles, they will want to come in. Can I enter? They will ask. And you, the priest or priestess of your own temple, will decide. You may enter, but you must take off your muddy shoes. You must leave your ego at the door. If they are willing to leave their ego, let them in. If they insist on bringing their mud, keep the door closed. Protect your temple. It is sacred ground. Now, as we conclude this journey, I want to give you the mantra of the phoenix. Repeat this when you feel weak. Repeat this when the night is dark. I am not the ash. I am the fire. Say it. I am not the ash. I am the fire. The ash is your past. The ash is your story. The ash is your pain. The fire is your consciousness. It is burning now. It is alive now. Do not identify with the residue. Identify with the flame. The flame has no history. The flame is always new. Be the flame. And as a flame, you have a responsibility. Your responsibility is to burn bright. Do not dim your light just because others are comfortable in the dark. Your ex-lover was comfortable in the dark. They wanted you to be a small candle, but you are a bonfire. Do not shrink. Blaze. If they get burned, it is their problem. They should not have touched fire if they were afraid of heat. If they want to be with you, they must learn to withstand the heat. They must become fireproof. They must become spiritual. So in a way, your rising forces them to rise. If you stay small, you allow them to stay small. If you rise, you issue a challenge to their soul. Meet me here or let me go. This is the greatest love you can offer, the challenge to grow. Finally, I want to thank you. Thank you for walking this path with me. Thank you for being brave enough to face your broken heart. It takes courage to sit with pain. Cowards run to alcohol. Cowards run to cynicism. You stayed, you listened, you felt. This proves you are a warrior, and the universe rewards warriors. The reward is not just getting them back. That is a small reward. That is a consolation prize. The true reward is getting yourself back. And once you have yourself, you have everything. You are the emperor. You are the empress. The throne is waiting. Why are you sitting on the floor? Get up, climb the steps, sit on the throne. Rule your inner kingdom with wisdom, with silence, with laughter, and let the world come to pay tribute to your light. This is my blessing to you. Be a light unto yourself. And now the journey is yours to continue. But you do not have to walk it alone. We are a Sangha, a community of seekers. If these words have served as a balm for your wounds, if they have lit a lamp in your darkness, then do not just consume them. Contribute to the flow. Subscribe to this channel, not as a number, but as a commitment to your own awakening. Join the inner circle. Click the button, become a member. It is a small gesture that says, I support wisdom. It keeps this temple open for others who are still lost in the storm. Super thanks is your offering. In the East, we never leave the Master's presence empty-handed. We offer something to balance the energy. Give what you can and receive 1,000-fold in spirit. And for those who are ready to do the deep surgery to remove the roots of attachment, to plant the seeds of magnetism, the tools are ready. The ebooks in the description are not just words on a page. They are condensed consciousness. They are maps for the labyrinth. Download them, read them, live them. Go now. The door is open. The sky is waiting. Fly.